be there, like Big Brain Colder Mentor. Barbar's been sat for the whole week just preparing for this game, and he's gone into the maps or the only maps that Liquid have actually played. So it's interesting. I'll give it that.
It does certainly give us a little bit of pause for thought here. And again, if you do want some other perspective, do make sure you check out Sliggy. He's doing a little co-stream right now. Always worth a watch as well. Get you all the good info. I like to steal ideas from him. You know what I mean? So I sound knowledgeable. I have no prep coming into this, though. I was desperately trying to get some info out of him. Nothing. Nothing. Just a vault. But we're jumping in with Liquid on the defending side, of course, and that then does mean the Guild are on the attack. And yeah, this is one that should, if you're looking at paper results purely, sit quite comfortably with Liquid across the board. But we digress. We have to wait and see how this goes, because we've seen what can happen when Guild look prepped. I mean, so did Mech.
This is interesting, though, because this is obviously Liquid's pick. Guild have chosen attack, which is definitely not something you normally do going into a game of Split. And it's definitely not something you do versus Liquid, because they're normally stellar on this defensive side. So I'm definitely excited to see what they have in the bag, if they have something in the bag, because, again, this is something that Guild haven't really played this season.
And it's all theory, right? It's all posturing. We're sat here kind of discussing, like, okay, surely they've come in with a plan, maybe some anti-strats, because they've got tape, right? If we look at it from that perspective, you know that you can look into Liquid on this map. But then again, it's still Liquid, right? Like, how are you going to quantify Yampy? Let's say he has one of those Yampy games, right? Or Scream does. Or actually, Soulcast has had a big swing up already this season. It's very hard to quantify that. It's very hard to go, well, we just have to beat 3 potentially huge pop-off players, and the timing on Russ here could have been a problem, but it's kept in check. But 30 seconds, presence shown towards B. You can at least keep a couple there, but it does seem as though a one-way's been invested by Yampy. So, again, he's comfy on this for now. He still has support over towards CT as well. It's not like Link's particularly far away, and they're going to make Guild work for their dinner. This is going to be a long, hard road, and with 13 seconds, I don't know if they can even make it towards the site, even if they just play towards time. Trex does find Link, but Yampy, if he just can play his life, which he's doing very nicely, biding their time. And I mean, the plant was pretty close. It does seem as though it's down. Okay, 3v3 post plant.
Yeah, somehow they've made this actually look workable. There's a late flank coming through from Scream, so that's something to watch, but there is a trip waiting to make sure that he can't get that space for free. They'll have that knowledge later into the round. The thing is, though, the setup doesn't actually look bad from Guild. The only problem is a couple of the players are kind of locked in, I guess, 1v1 duels.
They can't quite remove safe. Now Scream's going to at least get a little bit of room to work and does attempt at a 1v1, but it will be a 1v2 if he swings that corner. Gets the tag towards safe and actually gets the frag as well. It's all on Leo, but this man can go clutch. Frenzy to hand and 3 found. Leo's on his day 13 HP and he just does the dance. Soulcast made to look silly, and that's a rarity. And this fight's going to go. There's no stopping it now, but what a round from Guild. I thought they were out of time. I thought that retake was looking good, and they proved me wrong in 2 occasions.
Yeah, well, it was what, like 18 seconds or so left on the clock, and they got stunned up by Link, who was basically holding that fault line. They had to go through a one-way, which, okay, wasn't particularly utilized, and even then, it just came down to one man. But this is the thing. I still find it very hard to believe that Leo is, what, only 18 years of age, and he plays clutches like this. Like, isolating each of the duels, managing to just play the time, didn't even look to try and get the frag at the end. It's not in his mindset. It was just about getting that round through, and I think it's an important start for Guild, because as I said, choosing to start on the attack, it's always going to be a bold start, because you can really sort of spiral rounds when you're on that defense. For now, though, hey, it's gone as good as it can.
You take him. And I think you're right when you're talking about Leo. This guy is such a talent, and it's been really nice watching him and Trex kind of finding such solid footing in this Guild roster. I think it's one of the things that stood out to me, at least with this season's run. I think it's been really watching them come into a little bit more form. And again, I feel like I'm just sat back and just waiting with bated breath to see what Guild has in store, because, okay, well, repeat the first round again, okay? Come down to that, crazy, couple of seconds left sort of execution and make it work. Now, this round we do see pretty much a Shiko, a little bit of an upgrade on Yampy, but it's somewhat to be expected, but no, like, armor behind it, and no massive stack either. It's a pretty standard approach, at least to this start. Guild looking like they still want to hit towards that A site.
Good position from Scream, but all he can really hope to do is try and slow them down with the paint shells. You got Link with him, who's going to catch someone on the cross, but again, they're being isolated with utility, making their way onto the site without too many problems. And, well, unless Scream catches the spike here, which, considering Russ, I don't know what Russ is doing. I'm going to be honest with you, Lauren. I don't think he knew he had the spike.
Straight up trying to throw. Gave it a really good try. still fine though, so they do get the spike down. No harm, no foul, Tom. No harm, no foul.
I was just kind of looking at him like the wall he put down was kind of like, was he trying to get up above? That's what it looked like. He wanted to get onto the rafters, and then that didn't work, so he's just gone, right, I'm charging him. That's it. I've had enough of this round already. I'm taking the fights.
Okay, now they still need to keep this round relatively safe. Let's see if they can keep it clean again. Just the Bulldog really invested into a couple of Spectres beyond that. Yampy not going to get much for this. So far, so good, at least for Guild. They were going to get challenged, but perfectly fine again. Trying to facilitate a couple of exit. Navera's going to catch Russ, but this is all part of the course. A little bit of chip damage, but none of it was really converted. So all good for Guild. 4 standing, spike down, everything going their way.
Yeah, I like the fact that even though Liquid ended up playing for exits, we're trying to lock them into the site, get them to go down to the spike, or even get a few kills along the way. They get away with 4 players there, so not bad start at all from Guild. And now we get into the buy. Now, this is obviously a map in terms of split where you can get these sort of rounds done. Like, you can make it work with the Spectres, especially when you have someone like Trex, maybe an early aggressive taken towards A with a stun alongside it, or the same sort of play in towards mid. There's a lot of angles that can be very beneficial.
Okay, so it does seem as though we do have a pause coming in. Not sure what sort of pause, Tom. It is
Mike's
the
here
mystery
in
bag.
spirit, you know.
So, yeah, not ideal.
I think I know what word it is as well. I can imagine
it's a good
one that you definitely can't say on this broadcast.
Cannot say. Not even close to saying. But it does seem as though the issues have been resolved, so we can jump back into this. And the buy's going to come out. Still a bit of light armor being thrown around here. There's potential for danger here from Guild, but I do want to see if Guild have something in mind that they want to utilize here, something a little special in the bonus round that could maybe garner our attention.
Ooh, okay.
That's quite nice, Big Shell.
Yep. It's a little bit behind, but I guess it was in case they ran forward. They had everything planned for. The interesting thing, though, is that Liquid haven't actually opted to take the control. They've sort of just given it back up as though you've used all of this utility, get almost nothing for it. And instead, the pace change from Guild, they're right in.
And I love this perfect use of those Spectres, trying to bring them into a range that'll actually work. And Leo and Russ in combination find the punishment on this. And they just crunch towards the site. And you're right, there was no real fight back from Liquid. They just got overwhelmed, and that sudden pace change, that little gear shift, has paid dividends. Now, Soulcast and Yampy, I mean, you're locked towards CT. There's still a wall up towards Heaven. You've got a long list of protocols to go through before you can even get close. And look at the upgrades coming in. Kodamenta, he's got the Vandal now. You've got the Phantom with Safe. They're laughing. This is a perfect little pickup. And again, what do you do? There's still that late lurk towards mid as well coming in, just kind of sitting behind that wall that is now broken, of course. But it's a time buy. You still have to clear even further, and Yampy knows it. You can try and focus towards sight, but there's that little voice in his head saying, well, where did Sage go? Who put up that wall?
Oh, no. Huh. There's no way he checks it. Why would you?
Nope.
You'd expect that lurk to have come through by now. So Russ already picking up another. That's a rifle upgrade onto everybody except Leo, who already had one. They've now got a Rolling Thunder ready for whenever they actually need it. But yeah, I'm going to be honest, it was a little bit disappointing from Liquid. I think they had the right idea, the right setup, even the right early utility, but they just didn't do anything with it. And because they then used that setup to basically take B main, well, you didn't take it, and now you've lost mid as well because you didn't have anyone there instead. So it just gave very easy control over to Guild, and well, then you're surrounded.
And I like the quick intent behind it. I mean, you've got to hold one of these two approaches, right? It's either you hold mid or you hold that B main after that amount of contact or intent put behind it. But giving up both kind of just set them up for failure. So the one rifle being brought over is with Soulcast, just the Vandal to hand. Everyone else just on a little bit of an upgraded Shiko, some light armor behind it. So it's certainly not without a little bit of danger. But look at the pace change. Guild's starting to flex a little bit, but they've come in towards a stack. There's 2 more players up towards Heaven, but great spacing from Russ, and Guild just going to power through this. Scream's going to get to dip back towards sight, but already this is still with 1 minute 20 on the board. This is a whole different look from Guild.
Yeah, the pacing of everything is just, it seems too difficult to actually play against for Liquid. And that's the thing. They're running a double controller setup on this defense. The whole idea is to slow people down, to delay, to force them to execute in the last 20 seconds, somewhat what we saw in the pistol. Guild are just disrespecting all of that utility, running straight through it into the sights within the first 30 seconds instead. And well, it's not the greatest setup when you're going in for a retake, I'll put it that way.
No, you're not wrong. But I don't know if we can call this, like, you know, when we were talking about the veto and like coming into this and even shot from Navera. Now they've got 3 rifles left and their money's going to be ridiculous, already sitting towards 6k. So unless Navera's going to cost all of these rifles. We can talk about something else, but Lothar said it at the start of the show, right? This has been the map pool that we've seen the most of Liquid, right? Like throughout this kind of recent run coming back in. I still don't know if this is enough for me to go, oh, Guild just look super, like they're into it, like they've got these crazy anti-strats. I think so far it's just been a really good look across the board. This looks like a very well-prepared Guild. And Liquid, I don't know if they're just, I don't know. It's hard to quantify still because we saw Guild looking exceptional against Mech, right? I think that was one of the biggest ones for me going, oh, okay, this is the second coming of this team. The big game, a little less confidence building, but if they come back in this and look as good as they did against Mech against Liquid, this now puts them, real deal pushing international territory now.
Yeah, I will also give the caveat that if there was any team you couldn't really counter, it would be big because
sure,
they've got brand new roster, brand new roles. Like they've lost God B, things are a bit messy. So I don't know if that's the case. This could be very interesting. Yumpy though, this is what I wanted to see in the round before. He's taken that control away from them completely. Weirdly though, they do still have 3 people on B.
And look how deep Navera is sitting.
Actually, they got 4 people on. Why are they all B?
So you've got Yampy pushed up. Are they expecting mid, I guess? Because of that split that came through, but completely gamble stacking on that? I think that's... Yeah, this has to be instantly posturing. I mean, Navera was sitting deep towards CT instantly, already down to 61 here, has to fall away even further. Spike needs to get across towards the side, but Trex has cleared it. They're still going through the protocols of potentially people being here and no one is. So Spike going to go down uncontested, and it's a full-on retake for Liquid. I've got to hope that they've got a little bit of utility left up their sleeve. I know Scream's got a little bit to work with, as does Link, to maybe facilitate something here.
Oh,
okay or not.
Okay, never mind. It doesn't matter what utility you have. 2 headshots in the space of a second. Leaving this down to just 3 players, 1 retaking with an operator. I wonder if they're already thinking about saving.
It looks like it. Yeah, you can see them leaning away. This one's done. I've got to say, this is... I want to see a tactical timeout from Liquid next round. Straight up, hit the brakes, hit the emergency button, and get a grip on this game, because right now you are being dictated to by Guild, whose pace changes have been perfect. These site teaks have been great. Now, obviously, they don't know how much they won that round by, right? Because, as said, you said it perfectly. Yampy pushes out by B main. He takes a lot of space, but then no one really rotated off the back of it. And then you can discuss, okay, were they sitting for pure retake? Potentially. But then 0 legs to it. Trex just flexes in towards CT, catches 2, and it's done. I want to see the emergency button hit early for Liquid here, because this game, they don't have any looks yet. I've not seen anything that's brought me back on board, because right now Guild are winning out in mid. They're living rent-free in their minds. The side takes towards A have been solid, and they've just been breaking their money constantly.
Well, it's also not even like they've been playing like slow defaults for information. A lot of the time, it almost seems like Guild are kind of just running into these setups a bit blind. Like, all of the utility was there for Liquid, but they just, all right, I'm just going to run through it. And it seems like there's no backup plan. Like, if someone disrespects what Liquid are putting down, there's nothing there to stop anyone anymore.
This is the first time we've seen Yampy really explore trying to maybe pressure mid a little bit. Didn't show too much, though. Didn't give away a shot at this point. Just the boombot invested down, and that's about all she wrote for it. But it looks like he's going to re-aggress a little. Now, Guild are at the bottom of mid, but they're kind of leaning back towards B. Spike still down towards sewer. And this is that pace change again. We saw those kind of very quick, massive intent behind it. Now this is a little bit slower, taking back that space from B main, potentially looking towards middle here. I'm curious what they want to do with that spike, though, because trying to get it across towards mid could be an issue if Yampy's on the money. But for now, let's see if Liquid have patience.
The first time we've really seen Guild burn down the clock since the pistol smoke out, which actually Yumpy's just going to go walking through it. Ooh, timing's awful. It's just been caught by Trex. That's already their mid presence gone, but it does give them an inkling that this player is going to go in the other direction. Rolling Thunder set up, though. It's going to be a rough hole.
It certainly is. 2 of them are going to be forced to at least relent on the site, have to sit back towards CT. Now, Guild, can they take the space in the meantime? It looks like Trex wants to. Gets himself towards fight, gets a fight, and he wins it as well. That's unfathomable presence from Trex. Soulcast trying to do everything possible to fight back into this in 13 seconds. All the pressure is with Guild, and Leo's just going to alleviate it in an instant. Safe through middle. Liquid are being outdone here.
Yeah, like a few of these rounds have had like opportunities, but then it just seems like somebody on the side of Guild steps up.
Yeah.
Leo is 9-0, by the way. Just thought I'd add that in.
It's not even Haven, and he's just popping off.
It's terrifying. Like clutching out the pistol, then closing this one down. You've also had Trex. He had the spike in mid, gets an entry because Yumpy's like. Those are all in plays, and we're 6 rounds in. Like that's a play from Yumpy, which is like, I'm gonna try and just basically win us this round, and ends up doing the polar opposite.
To be fair, I will. Yampy is always going to be one of those players that can do that, though. I will always give him a little bit of room to do Yampy things because on occasion, yeah, he'll absolutely make that happen for them. But just bigger picture, and I think you're right in highlighting that one of the players from Guild is now stepping up, because I think when we looked at Guild before, it was like, okay, well, we know that, you know, Safe can have a game or two here and there, but Leo was always that kind of unsung hero sometimes. I think he could have been one of the main names in EMEA for me when you watched him play. Absolutely. But now with Trex there, what a 1-2 punch, right? Like that is a really tantalizing prospect, and you're seeing it tangibly in this game. That's gorgeous to watch. You know, as I said, that little push to CT that Trex pulled off that kind of changed it, and then Leo pulling that out as well, kind of, I guess, quelling Soulcast from popping off, who tried to make it a little bit of something. And again, right read, right place. It's just Yampy kind of lingering around middle. Everyone else is over towards that A side. And a nice little adjustment from Guild, who have been kind of hitting those, I guess, their anti-ecos towards that A site a couple of times now. Flipping the switch, deciding to go towards B.
I feel like Coldamenta's in their heads.
Oh, dude, 100%.
They've had the wrong stack every round. Like each time they've gambled in completely the wrong direction. And now you get to watch, I guess, the OG Safe just lurking around the back lines, causing them problems. It's something they have to clear. Also just a potential weapon. Like that's going to be the main thing here. The issue though is like Liquid already have their loss bonus built. And you're not going to damage the economy on the other side, and probably until the end of the half. Like, it is as stacked as it could be. You're going to have the majority of players close, if not hitting that 9,000 credit mark. And yeah, they're already just looking to get out of there, trying to get back on the cross. And wow, Trex just isn't missing today.
Nope, absolutely not. And I'm a little stun locked watching this, because I guess this poses the question of, okay, so we know that Liquid famously don't have that one IGL, right? They kind of not necessarily share the role, but it's been put to a couple of different people here and there. It's always kind of hard to work out who's taking that main role at the time. Is it Scream giving it a go at the time? You know, who's actually taking the reins on that? They obviously don't have a coach, I think, officially right now. I think they're trialing some out, if I'm not mistaken. So again, where's the depth going to come from? Do they have that capability to hit the brakes and identify problems and adjust on the fly? I feel as though this is going to be the time to try it.
Basically, every single player on this team being one of the best in not just their role, but in multiple roles. So, yeah, the fact that it's 7-0, Guild are on the attack as well. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like this is done.
Mentally, if it doesn't start now, you've got to feel like this is cooked, right?
Yeah.
Like 7-0 and in this fashion too. It's not even like these rounds have been close. And look at the pace change. Oh, and you thought maybe a second difference here or there. That could have been Trex winning the fight, but no, Scream's at least going to try and keep control of middle. That's a big win for them. A first pick going their way untraded. Huge for Liquid. But again, that's Guild changing things up. This isn't the traditional back and forth, but we're going to have the res coming out. So Trex back on his feet. Anyone to punish? There, okay. Scream sends it down again, just punishing Trex.
Not allowing him to get back up, and you know what, that's fair enough in the way he's been playing so far. Again, aggressively using utility from Guild just to try and take extra space, but ultimately they've burnt out quite a bit here. Still though, I'm a little bit wary about some of the space opportunities that they have. Like you look at a solo hold from Link, normally Mr. Reliable, but with the way this game has gone so far, I wouldn't mind them bolstering it a little.
I think that'd be quite a reasonable request. Just sweating bullets over there, like, please. Someone. Sorry, Navera's relatively close by. Leo. Popping a little bit of utility still towards that B side, but again, I'm looking towards this. Navera's at least got the shoulder peek,
30
but
seconds left.
It's all about timing now. 27 seconds. Navera, does he spot the player yet? No, now he does. Okay, so Russ noted and a little lazy to not expect a repeat. Navera tries to take matters into his own hands. And he really only gets one, so it does leave that one player, the safe pair of hands, Link on the site. A bit of pre-fire towards Leo and gets punished. 10 more seconds, Spike can go down. No one's there that quick. Yes, you can have one towards Heaven, that being Scream. Coldamenta gonna get the plant in safely. No quick fight, but all three players on the backside of Pillar.
Off your feet!
They're not in a good space. They're going to use the Rolling Thunder, though. Gets them out of dodge. Scream can't even escape through the smoke. He's down, safe, just waiting patiently. And one by one, Liquid fall. The synergy just not really there on this retake. Isolated by an ultimate. Yumpy trying to pull off, well, a miracle clutch. He does actually catch safe out. I think he was in the cam. So maybe a chance here.
Oh, he's even read the second. Finds Golden entry now the 1v1, but it's Leo. And Leo has been phenomenal thus far. 3 bullets left for Yampy, and he's praying at this point. He's going to at least get it halfway, but that's all he can do. He's still trying on this one, and Yampy is just being toyed with here on the other side. Leo does not give away the game. He gets the frag. And Guild are looking untouchable.
He can't lose. He entried into the site and clutches out at the end. Like, that shouldn't be possible. There should be something available for a trade here. But I just love how in every scenario, I'm just starting to sit here feeling that Guild have the upper hand. And that should never be the case. Like that Rolling Thunder that they had, they were all locked into the back of the site. They go, okay, we can't stay here. Let's play out. And their mid-rounds have just been beyond fantastic in the way that they're actually switching things up. And Liquid can't cope.
No, there's been a couple of times you're like, okay, well, you know, they got the pick, you know, quick trade. Like that prior round, that little mid-scrap looked really good for a little bit for Liquid. And then, as you said, mid-late rounds, all there for Guild as well. It's not just the one side of the coin. A site looking scot-free, smokes up, sites there. Probably going to get the spike down. I don't think anyone can really deny this at this point, but Liquid, once again, going to play for that 5v5 retake. But look at the weaponry. You've got 2 big instigators, Scream and Link, and that's about it if you're looking at weaponry on its own. But Yampy's going to prove why he's such a danger, why he's such a threat. But it's only 1 pick so far, and it's not a recoverable weapon just yet.
It's a bit awkward for safe. They do still have a Rolling Thunder, Cosmic Divide as well. So there's some ults that could be thrown in here for Liquid. And honestly, at this scoreline, I wouldn't mind them attempting something. Straight away, Link is going to isolate 1, but how did that duel even come through? Trex has managed to find 3 kills while stunned up. Ah, this man's invincible at this point. Closes it out with a 4K, and oh, Liquid, what's happened?
They look shaken. They look absolutely shaken to their core. And as said, if it's not Trex, it's Leo. They're all finding that form hitting at the right time, but all of that's facilitated by the approach. It's not just this one man, you know, superstar, but look at this post plant again. How does he get away with this sort of work? Pops the ult, sends it, punishes Yampy. No trade coming in.
It's all one by one.
You can't let him get away with that.
Like, the first player finds out where he is. Okay, I can't really blame whoever it was who went down to the showstopper, but, like, it's just isolated duels, 1 by 1 for Trex, and, like, he's not going to lose that. It just doesn't, not today, at least. 9-0 on the attack. Like, I would sort of question going into this. Okay, Guild picking the attack side. That's bold, going into a map like this. Maybe not.
I thought this whole veto was bold.
True.
And they look so ready for it. You know, you said it perfectly at the start, though. Is this something where they've been able to look into Liquid? Do they, you know, have they done their prep work? They're a team that can do it. We've seen that against Mech. We might be seeing it again. And Liquid just seem irrelevant to the outcome. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter who's standing there, which is such a weird thing to say. You've got Navera, yeah, but you've got this whole team is filled with superstars. And none of them are able to change the tide right now that Guild are bringing in. And again, they're slow lean back towards the A side. This time you're going to see at least Liquid looking like they're going to switch up and play dedicated towards the site. Navera tucked in. You'll Link at the back of pillar. So a little bit of a different look now for Liquid. Maybe this could help matters.
Time ticking down. As you said, one of the first times we've had sort of a proper crossfire setup when hitting into A. The remaining players exceptionally far away, but have to have a little bit of faith in Navira's setup here once they actually look to try and burst their way through into the site. 15 seconds left as they make their way through. Stun is decent, and Navira's found the first. Yeah,
this is the first time you've really seen resilience. Navira's just holding it down so well. They don't even know about Link. Now they do. And the trade's there, but the time's not.
Gone.
3 seconds. First time we've seen that adjustment from Liquid, sitting super deep on the site. Still a bit of a punish from Leo, and again, money is tight, so if they lose more weapons and they don't get much across, this is still problematic for Liquid. They keep the operator, but that's about it. But we have to talk about the first round that they've actually managed. Tom, that little adjustment actually worked out.
Yeah, it's almost just, I guess the normal play that they make around this site is just having that solo player. Like, we've seen it many a time. And the thing is, I can understand why Liquid are so confident in that, because I feel like Link is one of those players you can stick on his own, he'll get 2 kills every time. It just hasn't happened today. And I feel like they've still just been a little bit too slow to adapt, because this time the clock runs out, there's multiple players there, and Guild can't find the same entries.
First time we might see Guild having to address that if they do go back towards that A side. That now will be players dedicated towards it. But then I guess you bring up the question, okay, where did we pull the likes of Link from? Where's Link being playing? Is that now something we can exploit? Can we try and punish this? And it looks like a B piece, but this tees up for Yampy to have a moment. Sat on the backside of Pillar, Scream by his side. There's that mid play still coming through. Safe's gonna be trying to slowly work his way around. This is a patient round from Guild. I'm waiting to see what the burst is. What sets this in motion. And Trek starting off. Now, that's going to at least reveal the operator's presence. They still have a minute to adjust their concept if they do want to go somewhere else.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Facing into an operator with a one-way to support it doesn't seem like the smartest play in the world, but it does look like they're going to try and challenge here in onto the squad. No ultimates to play with, but already stuck at the back, missed, but he's got Scream to support. In fact, the nade does its job as well. Yumpy with the peek to close out another, and it seems like Liquid have finally stepped up. Scream gets another nade kill. All right, it's going to be left on to safe, and well, it's definitely a little bit later than Liquid would have liked, but at least we're seeing some life in them.
I actually love that switch up as well. Even Yampy missing that first shot, but kind of dipping back towards, that little cubby on the backside, allowing Scream to just keep control of that cross, make sure anyone trying to close him was punished, and if Scream's given that.
Their new composition, which has been quite interesting, although I would say if Guild's picked that map and what we've seen so far in this one, they've probably thought of all the ways to beat out that composition. But nonetheless, I even just feel like Liquid warming up the aim, even if they don't win this map in the end, will be far more important than just going out like 13-0 and not having a fight at all.
Yeah, there's some games where you're like, okay, it's almost easier, quote unquote, to lose quickly and just move on to the next. I don't think this would be one of them, where it just feels so deflating. And Yampy's getting a little bit more aggressive. Okay, Yampy. I believe. I'm always aboard. I'm always aboard the Yampy train. Because every time you doubt it, he'll just do something absolutely out of his mind. But
how's he get out of here? Okay, he runs.
Easy. See, why do you doubt it? And now he backs away, pops up the little one-way if he fancies it. But he's got support on the site. This time not going to be Scream, though, who's over towards that ramp side. So he's going to call for support as quickly as he can, because it looks like the hit's going to come in regardless of what he wants. Predicting the player up on the wall, and he's not wrong, but now he's forced forward into the fight, and Russ finds him for free. The site's all theirs, and look at the overlean towards CT Trex. This guy is a beast today. And Liquid, you got to face the music on this. Push forward and try and make a play of it. Try and do something with it. But no one's given them opportunity.
Well, yeah, it's a tough way back in, and oh, actually, might have caught the flanker. That's safe down at least. He's expected at this point. They've been caught out enough times, and they're going to know where the remainder are. Link with an opportunity to isolate Trex in the corner, but again, it's easier said than done. Counter utility still going through to make sure that this fight just isn't going to be easy for them, and while Link now having to try and close out a 1v3 with seconds left, it's going to be Russ to close the round. 10-2, Guild adapt once again, and that was a fantastic attack.
Switching sides.
This hasn't been a bad map for Liquid this run either. We've seen some pretty decent performances. I don't know where I'm weighing this up. Like, this is kind of exploiting a lot of the issues that we were worried about with Liquid, right? Without that, coaching role potentially in place, without, a solid IGL. Right now, they're still trying to change things up, just play it out. I feel like Guild really managed to make that a problem in this game. They had some nice adaptation, though, to be fair, sitting a little deeper towards the side, but that gave them, what, 2 rounds? It ain't much, Tom.
I think we're seeing the same issue. I'm pretty sure it was Liquid running double controller before. And initially it worked fantastic because people are like, oh, okay, there's a lot of utility here. We couldn't just run through that. And then there was a team, a bit like Guild, who just went, actually, you can. And just have these good executions. And that reliance on those smokes, it takes a lot to sort of adapt because you don't necessarily have that backup plan in place. And it doesn't seem like Liquid did here.
I mean, look at this mid stack. Oh, and it's tailor-made to catch Yampy. Guild looking so ready for any of that presence towards middle, and Yampy's gone. That's a blink of an eye. He's out of there. Still above a minute to play with. And they just dismantle that mid stack that they had held for a couple of seconds. It looks like Liquid are at least eyeing up that B site. And they're holding this deep for now. Guild is sitting all the way back towards CT. I'm curious if Trex is maybe going to explore a little bit further back towards site. Jump peeking in. Yeah, he is. Okay, a little bit of a tag, but at least he knows the intent now.
He might have only spotted Scream, which still doesn't necessarily pull the full rotation off just yet, but you know he wants to go back for more. Even after taking a tag, this man is so confident in his own ability. Scream has managed to sneak his way through, but Trax actually seems somewhat aware of this.
He's sitting safe for it, so I am...
He knows.
This guy's...
He just knows.
He's just on... Everything's sitting for him. And, well, safe. Okay, well, the attention was on someone else, but safe then went, no, I'd like a little of the limelight, please. My friends, he's doing great, okay? So, I mean, put a fork in it, mate. This one's done. This is well done at this point. A little overcooked because even just getting this pistol under the belt, right? Let's assume that Soulcast does not clutch out a 1v5, not even planted 10 seconds left, right?
You're not going to tell a story this time?
Do you know what? Funny enough, I haven't heard this fairy tale. Funny enough, Tom. Haven't read that one.
He hasn't even got time. He hasn't even got time.
You know...
It's the shortest story in history.
Yeah, it's more a haiku at that point. Yeah, this I think anyone who understands how numbers work will realize that Liquid are a little bit screwed
can
now.
you explain it for those of us who don't understand how numbers work?
Well, it's gone for one of the teams. It's about to, really become a problem because it's more than the amount of fingers I have on my hand, so I can't count that high, Tom. Exactly. Now, from Liquid's perspective, though, they're very far away from the bigger numbers. They're only on 2. So that's a lot of numbers.
How long until we get to double digits in the 2s? I've heard that one before.
That's a great question, Tom. We'll leave that for the analyst desk. At 2-11, though, it's got to be a run back from Liquid now. This is it, right? It's got to be just flawless. Which, you know what? Maybe.
So you want a pistol win, is what you're asking for?
Yes.
Because they haven't invested it. Well, they've invested a little bit. A little bit. A tad. They want to play with the rifles, which I guess it's a pick your poison scenario for Liquid. You either force in here fully, hope that you can win it. They didn't really get much in the last round in terms of kills either, so it's not like they could build much into this next one.
Right there.
And while we're going to be breaking, that's the thing. Like it's Guild are not overextending. They're not overfacing. They're not taking massive risks. That's the thing I've enjoyed a lot about this team is they know who they're up against. They know that there can be blips on the radar. It was the same against Mech. Like they didn't take any of the rounds lightly because they know they're up against a squad full of superstars, and if you give them a little bit, they could come back. But this is just very controlled from them. And you can see still the smoke's going down, early rotations, ready for this sort of play to come through. And Liquid are about to push into what looks like a 3-man stack with, well, 25 seconds.
Yeah. I'm waiting. Make me a believer. Because right now Leo's doing quite nicely as his Coldamenta. There's 10 seconds left. And it's going to be, I mean, one of the best games we've seen out of Guild since the Mech moment, really. The big one definitely left me a question mark, I'd say. Because it was closer than I expected. To be fair, I pestered Sliggy about it. I was like, you know, how you think about Guild? You rating them? Like, what happened with that big game? He was all aboard. He was still just 100% believer in this Guild roster was going to look pretty good. So, I mean, hey, he didn't get shaken by that weird big performance that I did.
Yeah.
Because that definitely made me kind of think, okay, was that just like one game where they looked crazy? Was Mech just maybe a little slow on the start, you know? But no, still instant recovery from Guild at 12-2, and now it feels like a formality. They don't even. I mean, how are you meant to hype this up when Trex said, okay, that's now. Trex just gonna fly down middle. He's off.
But they're still playing this as a bonus. Like they could have just bought and tried to close it, but again, as said, like I feel like Guild are never really giving Liquid anything. Like even though they've dominated throughout this match, they're still making sure they're careful. Okay, maybe the mid dive wasn't careful per se, but you get the point. They don't invest much into this round, so they can just try and do something a little bit cheesy to close it out, and then they have 9 more opportunities to do so. And instead, they're starting to crunch into mid.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Link's gonna, hit a nice shot on the cross. No, he won't. Fundamentals there. There it is. It's okay. Kept in check. 3 alive. It's great. 3 alive. It's great. There we go. Liquid.
when he was gonna get him.
I know. I know.
He's got such a good read on the game. I think that's the thing that will always be surprising about Leo is being young, having like raw individual aim. That doesn't surprise me. It's his read in scenarios, his clutch ability, and his depth of agent, which is like for someone as young as him doesn't make sense. It's still really cool as well that you can have like this Trek safe switch of just roles. Like there's not many teams that can interchange as well as Guild can with this roster, and I think that's why it's been a much sort of slower process of getting this team together. Is that I feel like this is definitely the best iteration of pieces, and considering how far they've got in the past, like close to qualifying, I feel like that's a decent claim.
No, I think you're spot on. Now though, it's all of this rides in Liquid's hands, right? Like how far can they take this? Can they make the scoreline look decent? You know, when the VLR analysts look back and go, well, it was
they got 9 rounds.
12-9, you know, it was a close game. Was it? But let's see if they can actually make anything of this match, because, you know, the bye's coming out, though. So first big test for Guild, at least on this half, and the first massive test for Liquid as well. So this could certainly change how this looks. Already going to get the orb built up here. So, again, trying to get Trex online with that. Liquid taking a little bit of an exploratory mission towards middle, and it is going to be Russ on the other side who will be trying to receive. This wall's already up, though. Popping himself down in the smoke. And Spike's not committed really just yet. Still needs to be recovered through from Sewer. So even with early success, there's still a fight to be had, and a little bit out of sorts from Yampy there. Russ with a punish and no trade available. Scream wasn't even that close, so that's a freebie, and it does give you a decent indicator of what the intent might be.
He's just managed to find the tiniest of gaps while they're just wasting time trying to break his wall, expecting them to be elsewhere. They were elsewhere. Instead, now Scream looks to try and move in and has ended up in the corner. They don't have time to really mess around here. Still 3 players within the site. And while Scream at least manages to find a couple, they still have to get that spike down, but I think he might have just done enough. Oh no!
Well, hold on. They've left the spike down below. Link has to go and pick it up, and now time. What? What is going on, Soulcast?
Defenders win.
Tom, you're the analyst. Break that round down for me.
Touched out.
Yeah, not something you'd instantly put beside him as something that you'd look at, but we do get to see Fade coming back out, which was a highlight for me seeing Soulcast. Again, it feels like he gets to reinvent himself when he picks up a new agent of sorts. It does seem quite interesting, but we do get to see a little bit of a pound for pound value. Yeah, I've just absolutely whiffed it, haven't I? But we get to see how it kind of fares up against us over. So I'm kind of interested in this game just purely from that perspective, but we'll wait and see. Again, this is one that's definitely standing out to me that Guild have knowingly picked this. So they've got to be coming in well prepared with good idea as to what they're to be up against, but it's still Liquid. There is still every chance this can go astray. So for them, it's a must win now, Tom.
Yeah, they've got to try and pull this one back. A map that has never been particularly good for them. One of the weaker within their pool. A map that, well, we've only really seen them beat this year big in their first game with a new roster. So I'm just putting that caveat out there that they need to fix some things and have done it fast.
That's what we're waiting to see. So Guild will be starting out on the attack. If you are just tuning in, it is currently 1-0 to Guild, who looked unbelievable on Split, and Liquid just looked cold coming into it. And now we'll move on to Icebox, which was Guild's choice, but slow and steady. Let's see if it wins the race. 30 seconds still to play with here, and Link's still going to be pushed a little bit further forward.
30 seconds left.
Can hear everything. No subtlety to this, but no need for subtlety when Trex is hitting shots. Going to punish Link, and now look towards the site itself, and it looks methodical. It looks pretty robust, and nothing to really deny this plant for now. Russ going to get away with it, and actually get away with his life.
Yeah, they've gone for the elevated plant because it's one that Scream can't deny. Putting that paint shell through just wouldn't have really done much damage, and now they have that extra position to almost play over some of that util. Straight away, Haunt going out to try and get them that info, and actually it's just being stuck all the way through. Scream, why? He couldn't deny them off the back of it, but he can just defuse the spike. All right.
Well, that's one way to do it. Just yeah.
He just stuck it. He stuck it all the way. You can see the utility
that
was there. Like, there was a paint shell afterwards. I think there was even a nano swarm, but I assume on Guild side, they go, well, they won't have just stuck it all the way through, would they?
Surely not.
Long-time FPS player, Scream don't fake.
That's what they say about him. Not the headshots. It's Scream.
No,
don't
no,
fake.
no.
Scream, do not fake. Bloody hell. But it's a buyback in. They're forcing up around this one. We're going to have, you know, Spectres across the board. But Cold Dementor going to be challenged early on. Yampy going to win that because it's Yampy. And it's a judge in your face. So, of course, he gets away with it. And this is a little bit of a welcome back for Liquid, it feels like. You've had just like a full sit diffuse, and then you've had, you know, Judge popping off. This feels very Liquidy as a beginning. And already building towards that A site. So Scream does need to keep them at bay. Already going to have himself revealed, so he does need to make a quick move out of there. He actually gets to keep his life.
Yeah, they stacked a lot of utility in just to try and kill him off, but hasn't actually worked out. And now with 3 players within the site, Liquid have a pretty decent hold here. Even going to put up the screen just to lower their HP a little bit, but they've gone straight through. And Russ has just quickly found 2 kills.
How's he got 2 out? That safe's in danger though, but he looks dead to rights. He's again getting away with murder here.
What?
The timing on that reload on its own is just hilarious. Now, at least going to buy a little bit of time for rotations to come in. Deny the plant being instantaneous, but they still have a player disadvantage. Still going to be trying to work it back. Yampy's the only one doing damage so far. Finding Cold Dementor and Russ is all that's occurred. So you're looking at Navera and Yampy to do something with this round. But Trex, what are you up to, Trex? So that spike is left down towards that kind of deeper side of sight. So they have to swing for a fight on this. And it's 10 seconds. So it has to be now, or pretty much never. Yampy still doing damage, and of course it's with the judge. Navera just trying to play the time, but now with 5 seconds, Yampy has to play his life. Spike back in hand, and he's still doing damage. And he's played it to...
Oh, just about.
That was just about.
Just about.
Bloody hell.
That's probably the first time ever I've actually had to look at the scoreboard to see who won. I'm like, oh, 2. That's bigger. That's big. There's not 1-1. Oh, he didn't even need to peek this. That's the worst thing. He didn't need to fight this at all. The spike was down. No one was planting it. I don't even want... well, we can't tell because there's the Red Bull replay over the top, but I'm going to tell you, it was just under 0.
Bloody hell. And that's how it happens. That's how Liquid get their second. And that's going to just put Guild right back to the starting blocks. And Navera swats Trex out of the sky. And it's the perfect beginning. It's a confidence booster, if anything. It may not be the prettiest Valorant you're watching, but it's certainly at least a couple of rounds they desperately need.
Yeah, they're getting off the mark, you know? And then they're getting to play this one as almost an extra bonus. I will say they lost every single player, so there's a heavy amount of investment, and they've not really made much. But even still, they're delaying what will be the bonus round a little bit longer. It's just whether or not Guild can do any major damage going into this next one, which... in all honesty, I'd be a little surprised, especially with the direction they're going.
And let's see if Navera spots another. Already gonna slip a little close towards the snipe, but shut down pretty quickly. So Navera going to catch Russ, but it was a Hellcast finding Cold Dementor. And yeah, the shutdown looks pretty comfy. Liquid not going to allow any naughtiness to occur. No plants coming in, no, well, basically barely any damage. Navera copped a little bit of it, but that's about it. So at this point, 3-0. I mean, it's course correction, if anything, for Liquid, it feels like, after map 1.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they've managed to, although not necessarily earn up finances just in terms of the actual credits, ultimate-wise, they should be in a pretty decent spot. Unfortunately, the first 2 rounds, I think Yumpy was the only one getting any kills, so it kind of ended up in a bit of a weird spot for them, but even still. 3-0. Finally, we get a buy-up for Guild. Trex close to getting that showstopper online. Rare's almost available as well for Russ, and by the looks of it, it's just an all-in A play.
Yeah, with no default behind it. Tommy being tucked just behind them towards A, certainly indicative of it. Again, Soulcast's patience is going to be tested, if anything, at this point. Guild, no rush shown for them either. They're happily taking their time on this. Soulcast wanting to find a little bit of something, but for now, the utility's going to give away the game, if anything.
Seemed like it could have been a little misleading on the other side, but with the drone now coming through, Wall actually utilized just to try and slow them down on the take, but it isn't going to last too long. Even still, though, this has meant that Liquid can basically have a full rotation. 4 players already in, screen down again, ready for the retake, and... oh, they've even... what? No one's turned around, but he's whiffed! He's whiffed hard!
God, this is a horrible round. This is not going to be one for the replay packages. Scream gets caught off, found by Rust, and Guild actually finding the punishment now. This is a disaster in the making. I don't think there's much to be done for Soulcast in this round. Vera now we locked out towards the backside of things. Actually tell a lie. Soulcast spams it out. Actually going to catch Russ. That's huge. There's still impact to be had. They still don't have the spike down.
Player standing.
But now it is just Soulcast, as you saw the Yampy and Nevera got caught off of that small opportunity that just slipped through. Oh god, that shot that went astray for Yampy still got me absolutely twisted. But I guess Guild are on the board. What a round, Tom. That was just bizarre.
I can't believe he stuck this. I don't even think Colton meant to can either. He's just going to be like, well, there's no way he's actually going to stay up there because that's mental. So I'll just go about my day like nothing happened. And then you just had some like a spam kill. I think the kill that Soulcast got was utterly ridiculous as well. Just like wall banging with a Guardian. But hey, Guild are on the board.
All right, just do that again. Do it again.
No, please don't do that again. I don't want to see that round again.
Okay, we're seeing again a little bit more aggressive. You're going to see Scream kind of exploring a little deeper towards that A side of things, which I don't mind. Again, a little bit of a switch up. Link not too far behind him either. You saw the Guild weren't particularly holding that default on that all-in A piece, so already an adjustment. It does look like a little bit of a lean back once again towards A. Now, they do have to try and clear these two players close by. Scream working towards the ult. How long does he stick around here?
Well, yeah, they've got Nightfall ready as well, so even playing a retake here wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. All the information, deafening your opponents, it's a pretty valuable ult to have in that late round scenario, and with the majority of players looking to try and push in onto this A site, you can see again Link holding onto the wall, slow available as well, so if they wanted to try and just delay as much as possible, which seems to be the plan, because they've also got a deep smoke and now the screen.
Okay. And there's contact though. Scream's still going to find Rust on the way in, which is proving to be a bit of a problem. You don't expect a little bit of hit and run. If they're sitting for retake, you kind of expect them all in on that, but not to be. Oh, the spam's on the money! Scream punishing safe, but trying to plant towards that upper side once again. Cold Dementor even copping a little bit of flak damage too. This is quite nice. You can see Yampy starting to build up his way around as well. This time hoping not to miss, but Scream just reigning supreme on towards the side itself. Investment of the ult. Not having a good game here, Yampy. A little bit of an unfortunate shot again, but it's fine. Everything is looking good for Stand and another round for Liquid.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of this afterplant revolves around having Russ alive. Like, you need the wall up early so that you can actually stop exactly what happened. Like, the wall bang through, it doesn't happen if you have the wall in place to actually get into that position in the first place. But because he goes down, they have to take a risk. And, well, you can tell on the other side for Liquid, they have read that almost perfectly. Scream starting to pop off as well, which is always a terrifying prospect. No matter how good you are, this man can be better.
Damn, Tom, that's, you know, give him some hope. Maybe one day they can catch up, you know? Damn. No matter what you do,
you disagree?
Scream will always be better.
Do you disagree? On Scream's day, I think he could be better than anyone.
I'm not, Joe, it's not worth arguing. It's not even worth arguing. I'll give you that. I'll absolutely give you that. But sadly, the one thing that's not being given is a great deal of money for Guild. They're going to be down on this kind of weird purchase. It's certainly not pretty. And again, I think Nevera's been pretty on today, doing his job. Doesn't need to be popping off necessarily. And speaking of popping off, Scream going to just send it and find it. Cold Dementor just gets sent away. Having absolutely none of it. Still not really being forced to relent either. Nothing going to really clear him from yellow. He can sit on this. They have pulled rotations. Sure, I guess that's a small tick in the box, but safe to speed up the pace and try and take this site control would be pretty brave of him on his own. The rest of the boys now in support, but you can see that little bit of a clock, that little intuition from Liquid now starting to tick over. There's no other presence felt towards that B site, so already I'm pretty sure Soulcast is eyeing up the pusher in case anyone tries to overextend, but this should at least get them a plant.
Here is that wall. That's it. This makes it a lot harder to basically deny the plant. This could get interesting. Now, Rare's probably not going to be utilized just because, well, wrong side of the map. Died all the way on the other side. Yumpy playing this with a judge. It's just grotesque. I don't want to see that. Can we not look at his POV unless it's necessary? But here comes all the utility. Liquid more than comfortable to play this as a retake, and that is so much information off the
Oh my god. It's Yampy just closing the gap as well, and you're going to be sweating bullets because the span's above, and it's death from above. Of course it is. Yampy This is the danger that that man contains. And you're right, it was off the back of Soulcast's utility, giving them a lot of information to play with and just the ability to close the gap. And Guild, they're getting what they want, at least in the early rounds. They're getting the plant down, they're trying to take a little bit of side control, and that was off the back of the contact they had on the other side. But then the retakes have been pretty sharp.
He shouldn't be allowed to do this.
No, he shouldn't, but he is.
I will say, fair enough to the observers. you did have to look at him there because he was doing something utter just madness. He's just sticking with the judge. Like, this is a man that we know for his operator in the majority of rounds, but he's currently 10-4 and just having an absolute field day with this gun. And that's the thing, like, it seems like Guild tried to come in with a plan, but if you're talking about teams that can disrupt your plan, Liquid are up there.
Yes, they certainly are. Leo's going to find a link, but that doesn't remove Scream from the equation. And do they check on him? They do now. They note him, and that he's still going to take one with him. And Yampy drives in. Still going to claim Russ, and Russ is going to be absolutely tilted in pieces. It's a 3v2, and you do have the KJ ult coming in, so at least that's going to facilitate the plant, force the defending side away, and you can see the Viper's pit now coming off the back as well. This is a lot invested for Guild, and it looks like Navera going to do it right back to him.
Trying to almost counter out the ult with one of his own. Again, for Liquid, they have plenty of finances to buy back in, so even if they just manage to drop the remaining couple of players, that could be enough for them in this round. Haunt utilized again just to try and clear some of those closer angles, but the fact is everybody is playing outside of the pit at this point. It's going to be difficult for Soulcast to really find anything here, but he's managed to get quite far forward. In fact, well, it looked for a moment that he was going to have an opportunity. Shock dart in is going to leave Navira low, but he's tanked both of them, nearly getting it all the way, and he's just going to ninja it. He sticks it in front of them. The disrespect. Both of the brothers have now done that to Guild.
Right. Well, something in the water, Tom. Something is absolutely unreal.
Somewhere out there, Jonas is crying because this was his whole problem with the update. Double shock darts are stinky now. You can't get those kills as easily, and I feel like Guild need to know that. I guess you'd expect you did a little bit of damage onto Navira, but the man just stuck it, for God's sake. That shouldn't be even a thought.
Shouldn't be allowed. Should not be allowed. Unbelievable 6-1, and it feels like I'm watching a circus at this point. It's just what craziness is going to happen. Oh, Yampy's going to get like 5 with a judge. Cool, all right. Next round, oh, a full defuse with like 4 alive. Sweet. Oh, his brother's going to do the same with 2. In a post-plant, I think it was with like Viper and with Sova. Fantastic. Makes perfect sense. It's why you can't help but love watching Liquid sometimes, because it does just go absolutely off the charts. So for now, we see once again Guild trying to pick themselves up off the floor, because these last couple of rounds have been pretty disastrous. They're spirit breakers, right? Like, how are you meant to come back from this? But once again, the rinse and repeat towards the safe site. 2 noted at the back of site. Guild now need to address this properly. How do they get around it? Well, Trex is going to put himself into the mix, and that's how you do it. Remove Link, remove Soulcast, and the site might finally be yours. Scream forced to relent for just a moment as the spike can go down. We finally have a bit of a lurk in action. First time we've really seen it. Navera going to give away his position, just audio cue alone. So now Liquid presented so many new problems, and the flying judge is traded. But it is now just Scream in a 1v4, and surely nothing now goes wrong.
Don't even know why you'd utter that sentence. It's like you're trying to will it into existence. But yeah, I feel for Scream, you just got to do damage first, already going his way. And any more than this, and you do start to worry a little bit for the side of Guild just in terms of holding onto those weapons. But it seems like he might actually just be looking for the exits, just looking to wrap all the way around and watch them as they run through.
Looks as though that's the plan. And it took Trex to get 2, I guess. The ult pretty much gave him the first round that they've been really able to convert. Guild, well, obviously that now off the board. I haven't even looked at the ult economy, but I assume after the round we saw the Viper's pit go up, the Hunter's Fury being invested, they're going to be cycling right on through this. So Guild might be left with fewer options than they'd like, but we'll have to check in after this replay.
I think both teams are fairly low. I think there's still the res for Russ, but just not really been able to use it, but yeah. The funny thing for me though is that like I remember when Yumpy first came in to Valorant, he was running around with the judge. Sliggy managed to get rid of that, like remove it from him. Sliggy leaves, right back to the judge again. It's like nothing ever happened.
It's one of those things that's hard to question when it works, but then you sit there and go, but it shouldn't. It is, but it shouldn't. But Yampy on an operator, now that's a whole different thing for me. You can't help but enjoy watching this guy
Look
play.
where he is.
Yep. I mean, he's commanded the entirety of the site control. And then some.
Well, this is also the direction that Guild have been going in for the majority of rounds. This has been an A-site simulator. We haven't really seen a proper B execution come out of them in the entire match so far. So the fact that he's got this much control is terrifying.
Yeah, and Scream's going walkabouts as well. Keep in mind that he's going to be working down Tube as we speak. Now, there is utility on the other side to keep him at bay. But that might be helped out a little. Navarro's going to be forced away, down super low. I think it was about 20 HP, 23 to be precise. And Drex actually found the frag, which is huge. This could be the first time they're actually able to make a bit of an impact here off the back of that pick. So again, Spike not be able to go down just yet, but should be allowed on the second try.
A lot of the denial utility is gone, but they've broken the wall in the meantime. Now Soulcast comes through alongside Scream, and they're running out of time.
Yeah, not being able to get the plant down in that moment. Scream putting his life on the line, and rightly so. Even just to deny that, that's huge. It's a 3v3 with no plant. And the spike down in basically no man's land. It's just a spam from Link, punishing safe, and that's going to be disheartening to say the least. Yampy's found Cordamenta, and Leo's great, but this would need some real greatness. Yampy's not allowing it, and Liquid carry on as they mean. And again, roll your mind back to the start of this round. The fact that Yampy took so much space, Tom, it just allowed them to have these rotations in. You had now the likes of Scream, he was working mid a little earlier, but then he pushed down, got on the side, got down and dirty with it, denied the plant. This is just brilliant rotations off the back of space being taken from Yampy.
Well, this is also just one of the major reasons we've seen even Liquid in the past with Soulcast, and I think at one point Optic were even running arrays just for plant denial, just being able to delay that extra time, do the damage to the wall, and then just leave them in the open. And that's the problem with that B-site take. It's still very easy to spam where you want to be planting them. From that point onwards, you're still having to fight that angle again and again. You just see those kills coming through the screen. And again, they're going to go back to trying into this B-site once again. Now, the support isn't necessarily there, but you can probably rely on Navarro just to buy time.
And they've committed a fair amount behind just to take towards yellow for now. Liquid do have 4 players here. Keep in mind, they're putting full faith in Yampy, and probably rightly so. Yes, they've still got a little bit of a look towards middle. You got Link kind of keeping that in mind and finding safe. That's taken away the back line. That was the only player really holding this potential default in case anyone did go exploring. And now with that gone, this feels one-dimensional from Guild. Stuck a little, and if Liquid is sitting in deep and just holding these angles, they've got to find a way to somehow get towards sight.
Yeah, this is almost when panic starts to set in. Wall gonna be up. This time it's more aggressive though. Leo's trying to fight them, and while he's not won that duel, they will get an after plant, but the cost of it is huge.
Yeah, you're right. They just had so many players on this site so early for Liquid. And again, Cordamenta's done in. Just senses dulled. And punish in the location revealed. This post-plant retake is gorgeous from Liquid. Drex, he's so noted. Yampy makes the most of the utility invested off the back of Soulcast. Diffuse is going to come out, and Liquid look really robust right now. Like, I know we saw some, the kind of circusry of it where it was just this kind of madness. You had Yampy flying around with a judge, and some full diffusers. Like, don't get me wrong, there were some weird rounds. But then you see the kind of core of it as well. You see the fundamentals behind it. It looks pretty solid.
I think as well, they just look calmer, I guess is the way I'd put it. Is like in every single scenario, like, okay, we've given up this, we found a pick on the other side, you've not been allowed this control, now we play retake as a team. And yeah, sure, Yumpy is popping off all over the shop now.
Yeah, certainly not going to be a second. But by most accounts, if you'd seen how Guild had vetoed to this point, you wouldn't have gone, right, well, of course it's going to be Icebox. It definitely caught us off guard. But you're right, put under the pressure, they've certainly come up with what they needed. And again, I'm really enjoying seeing Fade find a quite interesting role so far. It's so hands-on. We've seen a couple of different looks, some to varying success, but your mind goes to a couple of performers out there who've really made me a believer. FPX obviously is the easy one to go to.
Shao.
But again, Soulcast on new agents, once there's something about him when he's back in that grind, he finds so much value. It's, when he first came back into that sky, when he really picked up that form, it's really nice watching him recreate, find a little bit of that magic once again.
His Astra is also
Yeah.
cracked.
Yeah.
Like, the way he was playing last week was so impressive. Like, he basically won them Fracture versus BBL. I don't think that's an outlandish statement at all.
Nope.
So, yeah, impressive. And, well, now you look at what's coming in for Guild. Finally managing to get on the board, reset. It stinks. You got a stinger. Like, that's all that needs to be said. In round 11, you're playing with a stinger.
It's not the dream come true, Tom. I think it's a fair assessment. Let's see what Trex can do with it. Can we just get a Trex POV? That's ambitious.
That's the most optimistic
that's
thing I've ever
ambitious.
seen anyone do.
Guys, he's tagged. I've got him.
I've hit him for half health? No, half a health.
I appreciate you, observers, for trying to stay on him as long as you can. You're like, guys, it's just not worth it. He's not going to do anything. Well, we'll see. Again, that Fade utility, it's giving away so much. Oh, it just gets clipped on the side.
Frozen.
And still finds a frag. And now we look towards those post plants that have been plaguing Guild, that those diffusers coming in may be safe. But look at Yampy. He's so aware of this. Posted on it, not going to look away for a moment. And Leo, well, the shots ain't hitting and the diffuse ain't stopping. And it is going to be Liquid just living life to the maximum. It's rough out here for Leo right now. And Liquid just reaffirming some of our, some of those doubts we had maybe before now going to be wiped away, right? This is just like, oh, it's okay. They're back in it. It's fine. It was a weird map one. Guild look absolutely, off the charts. Now, it's fine. Liquid are back and they look great, Tom.
See, the funny thing is, like, we'll meme that ult, but it was actually really useful because it forced every single player back and the rest of the team were alongside him. So, like, although it did clip the wall and he could have got a couple of kills, the fact that Liquid are playing as a unit in every single one of these retakes, it's beautiful to watch, and Guild can't do anything about it.
Nope.
Now, they've got a reinvestment, and, well, see you later, safe.
Cass. Absolutely loving it. Just beaming people. Yeah. Safe with the op coming out. I mean, desperate times, desperate measures, I guess, is the way it goes.
One of the only rounds they won was with a showstopper on track, so at least him being able to get the orb is something. Like, maybe he can make the space they need. Paranoia, though, is nasty. They even have a nade to follow up, and then Link swings, but he doesn't quite manage to get the kill. It's a nice attempt, and it's also given Scream a little bit of extra space to try and fight back through. Lockdown should force him back, but it's whether he actually chooses to go back. And he does.
Yeah, he does. I was desperately watching that minimap just as we got to. I'm like, is he fully going back? He is. Okay. So again, roll your mind back. A couple of the rounds were completely dependent on ults coming out from Guild now. Already Navarro's going to find Russ. There it is. Still going to find two. Scream, Soulcast gone. There's hope, but maybe, just maybe, Yampy can do something with this. He's in a weird position.
30 seconds
Of course he is. It's Yampy. So Spike going to go down. Spots one. Did he get noted? I don't believe so. Spot out. And the shot goes astray. This one will probably hit. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's Yampy all over. 2 HP in a dream, but there's 3 players, and surely they shut the door on this round.
Oh, I don't want to watch anymore. I can't. Like, why?
There we go. There we go.
Why with the shorty? Oh, well, Guild get a third. Now, the fact that 2 of their rounds are off the back of a showstopper double kill. The least, I was going to say the least recreatable, but I guess technically they did recreate them.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's something else that can be pulled into the next half. Impressive stuff, though, from Liquid, start to finish. Like, I think Soulcast has shown that. I definitely had my doubts a little bit with this agent going into the map, especially with how good Guild were at countering them. They barely counted him at all. Even in that last round, I think the Haunt caught all 4 players exactly where they were for Yumpy to just have that knowledge going into the clutch. It's like, it's had its value, and I think every single member of their team has been playing very, very well.
Oh, straight up. It's been nice to see Liquid still have that capability to not just let one map either tilt them or put them off, because that map was pretty bad, to be fair. It was a brutal map to watch. So nice to see them instantly recover back into this. 9-3 is a good scoreline. Curse or not, it's pretty solid, and Russ has a little bit of a gap to work with there in middle, so he's going to keep his eyes trained towards it. But we have to look towards Liquid. What are they up to on this attacking side now? Nothing particularly to draw our attention instantaneously, but it looks like a slower lean towards that B site.
Yeah, it's patient from them. Some an aggressive alarm bot, but I feel like this is almost just being utilized to sell the, okay, they're playing further back, when in reality, Trex is set up with a nade, and you can already see the cross is being held by Safe as well. They're just trying to do as much damage as possible. Whoa, nice shot to start.
Yeah, very nice. Now this layers. Gilda can commit 3 behind yellow here. It's a little dangerous in my mind. But let's see how it works out for them. Again, Liquid taking their time, not in any particular hurry here. Spotting players towards the back of the site, spotting out 2, and then the swing from the 3rd. That's Safe trying to get involved, but it's Trex to punish again. Catches Scream, his opposite number, and Trex is just dominating this round. 30 HP on Navera, sitting like the walking wounded, and Soulcast by his side, but not being given many opportunities. Trex happy to put his life on the line. Actually deals with the utility invested from Soulcast, but Leo with the overextend. 12 seconds now. But Guild still have 4 players standing, make it 3. Safe, Russ, and Coldamenta.
Oh, no. One. Yeah, it's interesting from Liquid there, because I'm pretty sure they have to have known there were 3 players close, because you've seen the wall go down, the alarm bot, and then obviously Trex killed someone. So maybe just worried that they were already locked in, because that is one of the issues that they have with this composition, is you don't really have any flank watch. There is no trap that's been put down. There's no turret in the form of Safe. Like, you're just relying on at some point an individual being there. So I feel like they almost opted like, okay, let's push into this stack just in case there's a player waiting behind them. Well, didn't go great.
No, and again, we have highlighted a couple of the players from Liquid, but you can't really ignore Trex. I would say so far has been one of the main proponents of some of these rounds even being on the board. The pistol round here, I'd say, is a great deal of credit towards him, that early impact.
He gave them 3.
Yeah,
They have 4.
He has been doing a lot of work. Now, obviously, it's a team effort, quote unquote, but his impact alone has given them a great deal of the rounds they currently have. So let's see if they can get him online even further. Building that ult up nice and early, too. 3 away from getting online, so not bad for him at all. We have Sheriffs across the board and Yampi, of course. Bringing in a little bit more range, but that would take Guild maybe over peaking a little bit, getting punished, and you know this is probably going to be happening.
Scream still there with Yumpy. This is basically the 2 sort of high firepower players almost just trying to sell a bit of a fake. You've got the screen on the other side of the map. You've got a lot of utility set up for Safe as well. So getting past this is not going to be easy, but they have done a decent job of actually pulling away some of these players. So
30
a
seconds
blunt isn't too unlikely.
No, it could certainly happen. Now, I would say the fact that Safe is still over there, though. Okay, he's gone. Okay.
Don't mind.
Okay, well, this is when things become a bit of an issue in my mind. It's okay. No! Delete it. Delete the VOD. We don't want to look back at that. That's one you don't want to dwell on. And Trex and Russ left to do some heavy lifting here. And it ain't happening. Soulcast with a miracle of a round, finding 3 huge picks. And Guild just looking flustered, looking flat.
So what are your thoughts on Fracture? I quite like it as a map. As one that I think that ends up as a little bit of a middle ground, and I think we're almost definitely going to be heading there, because I don't know how you come out with a round where you half invest with pistols and you end up winning it flawlessly. And it's like, okay, there was a fake, but it's not like the fake pulled the rotation. Like Safe was still just sat there and just got wrecked. Then you had, who was it who whiffed in mid? Was it Coldamenta? Just not able to kill on Soulcast. And, well, you spoke about ults being online early. Soulcast is very close, and also close to being dead.
Yep, 4 HP. And Guild still trying to hold the line. I mean, you got to put your best foot forward, and they put 5 players on the A site, so map gets cut in half unless Liquid decide to actually back away and maybe re-explore things. Still with a fair amount of time, and they do have that rifle on Navera, so something to look towards. He could be the instigator to finding a lot of this and punishing a lot of this. Coldamenta and Russ daring to go forward, and it looks like they're just going into the trap. This should be 3. And, well, there's actually still danger. Yampi and Link going to be faced off against Trex and Leo. This is still a madness to even see come to this point.
Especially with the slide across the rope to try and get something done. It seems like the read is wrong, though, from Guild, and that could actually be the death of them, especially when you're with a Marshal. It's not going to be great in the retake, the other player only having a pistol as well, and on the other side of things, you still have a fair amount of utility to play with. I think,
30
although it's been
seconds left.
close, I'd be surprised if Liquid lost it from here.
It would take a mistake or an overperform, I feel, from some of the guild players potentially here. And quite no man's land. Yampy, perfect timing to almost overextend towards CT, finding Trex, quick punish. And yeah, well, Leo's got a rifle. Yeah, that was on Nevera at the start of the round. And that's a shot! This is the time for Leo to come alive if you want some hope for Guild, and he has to find Link, and there's a time limit on this. Sorb goes in, and Link trying to buy every precious second he can. And Leo has to slowly trudge through this. There's quicksand beneath him, and the time starting to dwindle. Spots just the pixel. Tap on the spike, and Link is going to play this to perfection. Not giving it away for free, and I think Leo knows this one's done. Time to back away, try and keep that rifle. Link wants to shut them down, see if he can maybe catch him in the heels at all. No, can't find him in time, and Leo gets to keep his life, but Liquid get the round.
It's a shame because I think if you looked at that, like, if this was the first half, you kill 4 players, you're in a good spot, I might start singing the praises of how good this round was. It's unfortunate, though, because very real opportunities for winning it when you're this far down in the game. Leo's starting to come online a little bit after what has been a quieter performance. Still not a bad one, but just quieter than what we saw in the last map. Still, though, a mountain to climb if they're going to compete here at all.
Oh, for sure. It's a ridiculously long road back, and we're already seeing a couple of the individuals from Liquid finding that form, which is why I always get worried. It's like, I feel like one out of these X amount of rounds they'd have to run, one of them could have big impact, right? So we wait and see. Double stack down towards B long. You can have Russ pushed up, and Trex is there with him. So Liquid do need to make sure they clear this meticulously. You can see the investment of utility already coming in to try and do so. At least reveal Russ's position. And they quickly adjust off the back, at least for now, to try and fall away from that pain shell. So they have a fair few facts to work with at the start of this round. It looks like, if anything, they're encouraging this exploration towards A.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like the rest of the players have just been sat doing nothing. Yumpy has moved up alongside Link. Challenge versus the turret, and again, it's going to almost come down to what looks like a retake because the spike's already rotated in, and they've left, well, not your normal lurker, but Scream back in mid.
Well, let's see how that goes. Certainly very capable. See how he reads the game, but it looks like he's not alone in this. Nevera's sitting pretty deep as well. So Liquid leaving 3 towards a site at least dedicated towards it. And they have to be proactive on this lurk now. You can't really sit too deep. And Safe's going to punish Yampy for getting a little over-aggressive. Link now feeling a little more alone on the site than before. Coldamenta tries to overextend, punish Nevera. The brothers in arms working back in middle, and there's a time limit now on this. Leo wants to speed up, but Scream's denied Safe. This is all falling to pieces. Soulcast now the last one alive in a 1v2. Trex and Leo, though. Anything they can say about the matter? No, Soulcast! Clutching it out and getting Liquid just one step away from getting that scoreline back, all even at 1-1.
He's been on one this game.
Yeah, he is.
We've spoken about the assist, but even just pure fragging power, the confidence he had on the defense to just like swing wide on the A site in some rounds, and while now clutching out what could be the nail in the coffin here. 12-4.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like just the way that Liquid are even playing in these sort of push and pull moments, like managing to get him from behind. Of course, they're able to even sprint things down because of that nightfall. So that you couldn't hear that flank coming, or at least the sheer pace of it. And they're doing very well to play around all of the utility that they're using. Nice shot from Russ, though. It's not been his game, that's for sure, but maybe he can win on one.
Oh, he's certainly putting his best foot forward, isn't he? Finding 2 this round. Scream and Link going to fall to that little aggressive lean at the beginning. High risk and certainly a high reward. It's given them a huge advantage in these rounds. You're going to need someone from Liquid to try and find a couple back, but see if they can find some space to play with. Yampy going on exploratory mission down towards middle, but again, with 3 players and so little done in the round already. But again, the buy coming out from Guild certainly far from perfect, so an opportunity, but a small one. I'm looking at Yampy to try and make something for himself out of this round, and if Coldamenta gets caught out again, I'm worried. Okay, it's all right. He had it that time. It certainly wasn't pretty, but he gets the job done. Leaving just 2 now.
I love it. The TikTok Omen clutch plays, try and TP just straight through a smoke blind and hope that there's no one on the other side, or hope that you can catch them off. And weirdly, I don't think he was that far away, even though he was looking him dead in the eyes while just waiting for that TP to go through. Nevera caught by Russ, definitely having a step up here, and well, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Speaking of TikTok, are you much of a TikToker, Tom?
I am an avid user or an addict, whatever you want to call it.
I see. Do you follow Sliggy yet? You gotta get into that. It's great.
I actually don't know if I do. What does Sliggy post on there?
It's a lot of the dances, obviously.
Oh, really?
Yep. No, there's actually some sweaty Valorant content. You should get involved. It's pretty solid. Speaking of pretty solid though, Rush, just had a big round. I mean, the first couple of kills, you talk about high risk, like, okay, what's the percentage every time he runs that? He gets the drop on screen. I don't know, right? But you wouldn't bank your 12-4 game on it, but he did. He risked it, and he got the biscuit. Scream, once again, getting punished. Okay, well, look, the odds are changing as we speak, Tom. But this round, keep in mind the purchase coming out from Liquid. It is going to be just on the lower end of things with the Sheriffs coming out. If they can get some ult progression, they are so close now to getting that one pretty much under the belt. So that would be lovely for them. And, of course, on the other side, similar scenes for Guild. So that first cycle of things coming through. And once again, we ask, can this scoreline be made to look close? Can it look like a game that could have a comeback to it, or any sort of sweat on the brow for Liquid? Because at 12-5, you're feeling still quite comfortable.
Yeah, no real reason to sweat. It's why you're still seeing some of these riskier plays, especially when this pistol's on the board. Well, Trex has put this one to bed. He's going to take a lot of damage, though. Maybe not quite worth the risk, and you have to be a little bit careful here. Prowler through, peek off of it, but Russ popping off. Another chance! What a shot from Solcas, and he's going to get an afterplant here.
The frag movie machine might have a couple more clips to be made of this, and Coldamenta's going to walk forward. Oh. After all those exchanges, the Coldamenta's been either caught off guard, caught in a weird moment. I'm starting to have heart palpitations about that, but no, he kept his composure and kept Guild with another round in this. That's 2 back-to-back now, but they need to keep stringing it. The buy's going to be back in for Liquid, though. So again, keep that in mind. It may not be perfect. They may have, missing a couple of bits and pieces, not all the bells and whistles, but it's still pretty deadly, and those ults are now coming through.
Yeah, both sides. This could be what I like to call an observer's nightmare, with just ult spam coming through all over the shop, multiple Viper's pits potentially coming in. And again, we're going to see this deep control. Now, this is something they've done a couple of times, wall being ready to put up, but with Scream's potential aggression, they've got to be careful. Like, it's not really worth the risk of placing a wall down that he can just go over. Okay, a little bit of back and forth. All right, we've just got some aimers coming out to play right now, Tom. Some weird plays and some aimers. So you know what? Just strap yourself in for the rest of this round. It feels like Yampy going for the double dip here. There's a little wander. Sees nothing else towards middle. We know they're kind of sliced right down. But again, that one pick does open up options towards middle. You can see instantly they're going to try and find that information back. The Aldrone, I don't think, really got him much information for old Leo. And Yampy might just be finding the perfect time on this. The fight comes out and Trex wins it, pops it, all goes in, finds Soulcast. Huge impact from Trex alone, but the trades are there. It's a 2v3, Tom. It's still game on. At least they've managed to clear out Yumpy. I feel like that was the biggest danger, just that flank coming through. It's over the top for Link, and well, he's done some damage along the way. Plant should go through. I don't think there's going to be much they can do to deny it. Just running and gunning for Coldamenta, but they've held on for now.
Here we go. You got 10 seconds. 9. Count it down. Guild dependent on time here and has Liquid put their backs to the wall. Guild gonna be closing the gap. And Navera, what more can you do about this? Has to dip away for a second and finds the frag, punishing Russ. Anything else to be seen though? Diffuse gonna be toyed with, and Navera. he's found Coldamenta. Navera, he's on a tear, and we know where Safe is, but he doesn't. And now timing is everything. And time is ticking. Safe has to close the gap right now. Navera denies. 13-6, the final scoreline. Team Liquid, what a way to... Just out of curiosity, is this one that you would put with Liquid? Or...
I feel a bit more comfortable with Liquid just because I think Soulcast was so good on this map last time. I think also, like, they were a little bit reliant on him, which does have me a little bit worried. But I think that he's been performing, again, pretty much all the way through the day. So I would give this slightly over to Liquid. But again, you know that Guild have come in and changed an awful lot. So there must be some reason for everything that's gone wrong in the last time. And hopefully they fix that. Yeah,
we wait to see the method to the madness, right? Like, that's all it ever is going to be.
Yeah.
And it looks like Guild are going to be stacking up, kind of working their way out towards that B site, which not all that surprising at this point. And no real, I guess, depth to this just yet. I want to see if they try and split through. Does seem as though, for now, patience being the name of the game.
Yeah, the thing is, there's a heavy reliance here on Navera, but the reason is he's got his cam all the way deep in towards A main. He's got a trip up towards Dish as well. So there's no way they can actually get past all of his utility without him actually spotting it. That break, though, will pull an instant rotation. You can see already that Scream is starting to make his move back, and that control being taken by Guild actually makes a big difference to the round, because they're going to have slightly, or maybe slightly less, because it still seems like Liquid have a pretty good read here.
Yeah, Liquid are in absolutely the right place to receive this, and with 30 seconds, they still have plenty of utility, whatever they were investing into at the start of this round. Scream, very patient to invest the Pain Shell as well. And with 25 seconds, are they turning their attention? I'm keeping my eye on the spike more than anything. Trek shows a little bit, so again, it's keeping these players present from Liquid, and we know that Navera left this side of the map. Okay, they're going to speed up the pace a little bit, try and get that spike down, and it's all on
10 seconds
hoping
left.
that no one was really here to deny this, and the plum will actually come in. And
That's a bold call, but I like it.
the timing,
And
Leo, he's actually got himself in towards the back of the box. This is absolutely wild, and it's a freebie for Leo. Quick trade out for Link, though, so at least going to keep that in check, but this has changed the dynamic completely. The Link's hitting shots, okay. Beams down Coldamenta. Flash, well, Yampy does eat it, but he knows someone else is there, or he should know, but they swing together, and the Spawn can't get there in time. Safe finds Navera, so Yampy's on his own to deal with two, and timing is of the essence, it's of the factor here. With all that great work coming in from Link, they really need to depend on it now. Aid comes in, and time being bought. This one's done for.
Last player standing.
It'd need to be some instant shots. Soulcast just doesn't have the time anymore. Trek's just going to close it. That's one of the scrappiest pistol rounds I think I've ever seen.
Yep.
Just brawls going on both sides of the map. A rotation that left just seconds to spare to get a plant down. But I think this almost leans back towards what we saw in map 1. Like Coldamenta making some really bold calls in some of the later rounds, or even just aggressing in on split. And he makes a decision here that, okay, I think we pulled enough of a rotation that we can actually get the spike down, and it works out for them.
It's such a blind call as well. They didn't have any, maybe an audio cue or two, but barely. And I mean, you're calling that right down on the wire. So a brave call to be made, and it does pay off for Guild with the first round on the board. Looking to buy back in, only Sheriff's coming out. Early information found for Navera, but the double stack towards Dish, not really going to get much action early on, but at least he has a support not too far away.
It does seem like already we're seeing safe played as a much more traditional lurk. Now, bear in mind, we have seen the nerfs obviously coming in onto the trap, so there's only going to be one now available. So they've used that to section off one side of the map, and then he's almost left just to try and hold on the other. Nade through, actually going to do a decent amount of damage, especially with the stun alongside it. The problem is weaponry's still so poor.
Yeah, and with the spike going down, the times can be on their side, and with the smokes allowing the croft, they need some success elsewhere, and they actually find it in the form of Yampy punishing safe. So that's opened up a little bit of room, maybe going to force Guild to now be a little bit cautious of the positioning coming back in from Yampy. Still got 30 seconds on the flash, so he can't instigate much more, but it is going to at least cause a little bit of investment from Russ. Upping that slow up down, maybe someone else can help them out here, and Yampy's still going to find Coldamenta. How's he done that? Russ with a quick trade out, but Liquid are making a real round of this. They are in pretty much an advantageous situation. Leo put to task, and he can't quite do it, but it's all on Trex now. And the time's ticking, and he spots out at least one. He's got to know where they both are here. And Trex is doing everything he can. 8 more bullets to play with, and that's about it. Oh, he's going to find Soulcast the jump. Trex saving the day because Liquid started to find that fire in the belly, Tom. That side looks so dangerous.
That's the thing, like, I feel like the value of just Trex being comfortable on this agent outweighs any other thing that you could really bring up. Just the way that he played this, every single piece of utility utilized, Nade used to delay them initially, then you also had the blast back. The problem is, though, that was, well, I'll use your word, Chico coming through for Liquid. So ultimately, they've still got a buy coming into this next round, and Guild have the decision to make of, do we actually invest more into this? And the answer is no, not really.
Yeah, there ain't much, really, is it? It's pocket lint and what's ever in the drawer beneath the sink. It's not a great deal. But we've seen Stranger Things.
I haven't watched it.
I haven't really either. And I know it's kind of a faux pas because people really like that show, and I've just never... I think I watched like the first season, and that was about it.
Yeah, I think I did exactly the same, which I think will annoy people. Well, you stop.
I know. How dare we? So I went to I think it's like Halloween Horror Nights, this thing in America where it's like Halloween and at like, you know, Orlando and stuff, and everyone like gets dressed up, and there was like a big haunted house of it. Didn't care. I was like, all right.
Oh, okay. Well, this lineup of players hasn't gone great, although actually,
I mean, okay, Yampy's there. That's fine. I was a bit worried if there was no this like extra layer to that, because that could have been like rifles recovered, but Yampy was around. So Trek sent away with 30 HP, and that's really it. He's got the spike, I guess.
Got Showstopper as well. I'd be
30
believer?
seconds left.
disappointed if it
Tom?
was utilized. No, not in the slightest. 25 seconds. They've got a trip ready.
Okay.
He would also have to almost shoot it and then blindly run in, assuming they haven't gone anywhere else. The only thing is, Liquid are currently completely
they're leaving.
wrong.
Yeah, they've made a choice, and it is the wrong
10
one.
seconds left.
But does he
He
get the
doesn't
plan?
know, though.
No, of course not. He's just playing with the intent that someone's probably in tower. They've already closed the gap. Navera, a little ahead of the others, but it's fine. Rifled up. It's still sitting pretty enough, and 3 remain. So, I mean, Guild made a round of it. If they'd maybe cost one more player, that rifle forced their investment, that could have been even nicer, but it's not terrible from Guild. I'm going to put Liquid on notice.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, I said there's a showstopper ready for this next round, and we've already seen how effective it has been throughout this series thus far. I think Scream, if he's going to continue to be cheeky like this was one of the things that, at least in the first, like, I think it was 5 rounds versus BBL, they really struggled to play against, was just Scream almost disrespecting them and having a lot of support. Like, they send all of this utility alongside him to just try and garner extra control, and you have to do that on Fracture. If you turtle, things go very badly wrong.
No, and I like the idea of just investing behind Scream. I mean, we saw what, you know, Fnatic looked like with Alpha here, just finding so much freedom on this map, just kind of unleashing, especially on the Raze. It was just gorgeous to work with and watch him play, but already Liquid getting quite proactive. I don't mind that at all, and it's not just, you know, one player doing it. As you said, there's support systems behind this, but now they're going to look towards the other side of things, and Trek's already going to take space over by Dish, but the Flash going to give away the game.
Yeah, Yumpy as well, having Seekers, especially going into the late game with all of these players split across the map. You can see it's a very wide set of control currently out for Guild. Like, they are playing this as much of a default as they can. The problem is with the trap being left early, they don't really know how far the push come in. In fact, there was a cam deep in towards their spawn being utilized by Navira, so they have to be very wary of the positions they've already lost.
Bomb buddy.
Ooh, Scream. Dangerous game.
Oh.
Okay. 88 HP. He's alright. Seeker's actually coming out as well, so it does reveal at least there's still players lingering around the... Yampy. He's heard all these steps. He's got a flash to play with. This could be huge. They check it, they do, but it's a lazy clear, and Yampy gets to deliver. This is perfect work from him too. Is great. It's going to buy time for rotations. You could not ask for a better play from the man. Yes, maybe he could have timed a bit better on the third with the flash, but still, it's going to tee them up so nicely. Soulcast getting away with that naughty. It's playing over by the box. This turns around. Couldn't quite convert, but again, 9 seconds left to get that spike even close to the site with the casualties they've had on the way. This round's over with. Guild can't make anything of this.
It's just gross. Like, having those sort of layered traps from Liquid. The fact is, I think the plan was almost setting Yumpy up to fail, and then Soulcast was going to be that sort of snake in the grass. The fact is, they get double their money. Both pay off, and, well, Guild are left looking foolish with the amount of time that was left on the clock. They almost used the Seekers as bait. They allowed them to go through in the other direction, and it really sold the idea to Liquid that there was going to be a play on the other side of the map, but they've fallen for that trap, and this is the problem. You're now going to be left with a weak economy. Liquid starting to build up some bank on their defensive side, and as I said, they're going to continue to push, continue to take aggression, so Guild are going to have to be ready for that.
Just be ready, forehead.
Scout destroyed.
All right, the hero rifle. Trex is good. See if he's this good.
They've got so many ults that are close. Yeah, the Save is actually going to get the tour de force. That's the thing, like, having him with a rifle and now having the operator for safe. Like, here's someone that, well, even going back to CS, was a ridiculous AWPer. So give him an opportunity, and I would bet on him hitting the shot. The thing is, though, again, just look at where. Can we just swap to Yumpy, please? Can we just swap to where Yumpy currently is? Because This is
Hey, observers, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
yeah. This is not a spot you should be allowed to have on the defense.
Probably not,
Here.
Tom. I think you're not wrong in this assessment. However, Yampy, of course, disagrees. He thinks that's actually exactly where he should be, and he's very happy with this. He thinks that should be very much allowed. But it is very indicative now of what the intent may be. With Yampy allowed this much freedom, they can have a little bit more faith
30 seconds
behind
left.
having these two players stacked up as they are. They are reading this quite nicely for Liquid, going to get themselves right back in, but actually Trek's ahead of the curve. Link left out just in the middle of no man's land. They carry on forward. We knew it was a hero rifle, but there's more behind this now. And Russ still going to find a second two. Russ with a shot and a half, and Guild not even depending on the players I expected. Trek's gone and Safe not finding the shot. It's the others that are just hanging him out. And now Yampy, yeah, he may be up to no good like normal, but how much can he get done here? I don't know how much they know about Safe with that sort of force in play. And Leo watching this gun barrel shows it's comfortable in Guild. Unlikely scenario, but the timing, unfortunately, a little for Link there, caught in just no man's land.
It just seems peculiar because they basically locked them into one spot. Like there wasn't really anywhere else they could be on the map as this push came through, and yet it still didn't look like Liquid were actually ready for it. Now, sure, that wasn't the be-all and end-all of the round. You had to have some crazy shots coming out from Russ, Leo managing to trade effectively, and then obviously Yampy at the end is just screwed. But yeah, it seems surprising that that's the round that Liquid let slip because they had everything to play with.
Yeah, it's not often you get, you know, the checklist of things you really dream of and then it goes astray, but again, we have seen that pop of potential with some of Guild's players, but it being Russ that time as well, hitting two nasty little sheriff shots is certainly going to help matters. But Scream going walkabouts, as is Yampy, so once again, getting early information, so bear that in mind, they should have a decent idea. Now, of course, there's potential for that not to be the case, but this should really confirm it already. So much presence noted. A tower position coming out from Yampy's not going to be able to find too much. If he can play his life, though, that'd be great. The timing's not great. Trex closing in so quickly as well. Yampy getting caught, flash in hand. Rivera behind the smoke, but the plant's down, and Guild will be happy enough already with this.
They've been able to take all the extremities. Basically what they gave up when they were going in for the initial take, they've managed to reclaim going into the after plant. They've also got themselves a showstopper if they somewhat need it. And okay, there is still on the other side a couple of ults. Maybe the Cosmic Divide can give them a way back in, but more importantly right now, time is just being bought. They need to make a move.
And yes, they forced Trex away, but there's layers. There's still 5 players to clear. There's complementary positions, and Safe's going to at least catch Navera on the way up. Scream trying to clear towards tower. Sends in the ult, finds nothing, and Safe puts his life on the line for it. It is traded out, but again, look at the numbers. Still so favorable towards Guild. And the post plant's perfect. Another on the board for them, and that's after Liquid trying to explore so much, trying to find what Guild are up to by process of potentially elimination, and it still goes wrong.
I almost feel like Guild have started to use that against them a little bit because at least in the last round, they just played it as a 5. There wasn't like a crazy lurk. They realized they're losing map control, but
because again, it's not, I don't want to say it's necessarily Liquid doing anything wrong, but Guild just seeming to have, you know, the kind of anti-venom, right? They're so ready with what works against what Liquid are trying to bring. And we were kind of talking about, you know, the preparation leading into this, and do Guild have, you know, the time invested to watching the tapes? And it certainly looks like that's the case.
Yeah, I think as well, like just speaking a little bit more on the Trek subject, we saw Guild basically reshuffle their entire roster to allow Safe to be the duelist. So for him not to be duelist just shows how good that they also think this guy is.
Yeah, it does give you a good idea, doesn't it? You're not wrong at all. And somewhat a simplistic approach, nothing too surprising at this point, but you got to be careful for Trex. He could get isolated here, going to depend a little on backing away, not overextending. And Russ leaning a little further forward to get that wall up. But for now, again, look at the pop out. Here's going to be Yampy just flying on in. He can't connect the shot. It was an ambitious attempt. Same can be said for Navera trying to play his life out. Stogas did find Trex in the meantime, and Coldamentus a little bit lower than he'd like, I'm sure. So Guild staying as this just pack, trying to play together.
Stogas' aim has been nasty today. Like he gets a kill and then also I think just dinks one of the players down to incredibly low HP. Rotation already there as well for Scream. He's in such an unorthodox spot as well. Like he's just playing default. It's not the normal place for anybody to stand, but it's still going to be cleared.
30 seconds left.
Controlled from Guild. They've just got to worry about Link. The only thing is the time. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to use this Rolling Thunder, but if he did, the clock gets low.
I was getting a little nervous. If Link had stuck around and or maybe just caught a bit of the timing on that, he could have punished it. Because you're right, you're
10
absolutely
seconds
right.
left.
The time was becoming that little bit of a worry in the back of my mind because things go wrong, right? A spike gets left, it gets dropped. That one
Spike
player just,
planted.
you know, it can become an issue. Now, we're going to need a little bit of that Soulcast aim to ring true
Player
once again.
standing.
Does have the rifle. So maybe able to take at least a fair fight towards Safe, and not going to be the case. Safe making it seem almost unfair, and Guild carry on forward for standing. And this is where I guess we look at what Liquid came up with in that timeout, right? Yeah, what's the concept? What's the theory? Because Guild have the opportunity now to just switch something up if they want to. If they really want to just throw him a curveball, they could do something completely out of ordinary. But again, it's been working quite nicely for Guild thus far.
Yeah, I think the issue is so far we've seen a lot of this space taken, and then I feel like Liquid sit with it. So you have Yumpy in these deep control positions. You try and hold on to Dish. You got caught out by timing. I don't think the plays they've been making have necessarily bad, but I also think they actually want to bump into Guild. I think they're hoping that they meet someone along the way, and thus far that hasn't really been the case. I would have expected maybe more of a challenge towards Tree, but I guess it's just not something they really want to throw in right now. And again, they've taken that control towards Arcade. No one there. They've taken Dish even. No one there. It's the same spots once more.
Yeah, similar scenes you're seeing it. Trex quick to take the space as well. Going to try and facilitate the cross when necessary. Clears out as he goes. We know where the players are, but obviously they don't. He's just going to just send it into the smoke and finds nothing. Yampy wasn't far away from this, but still, the plant's going to come in. This will be a 5v5 post plant now, and we know there's plenty of ultimates online, but Yampy with a quick punish on Rust as he tried to back from the site, and he's considering those Seekers coming in. A flash comes in, doesn't find it, but Coldamenta does, catching a Link on the way back around. So again, it's Liquid taking the site, sure, but this post plant's deep, and you know why. Coldamenta has that already if needed. The Divide's going to come up as well. And now this is when it gets dicey for Liquid.
Yeah, that time having to be a little bit earlier than they would have liked, and they have to be careful just because of this Cosmic Divide being down. It's risky from Trex, but he's done what was needed. He's actually going to get killed off by the Blast Pack as well. Even still, though, Guild are worried about this Cosmic Divide having to try and fight through it, but Coldamenta just going in with the classic is going to do enough. The round closed, and Guild get their sixth.
Taken aback. That was such a brawl because of that divide. They had to put bodies on the line, and as if the classic comes out in the end. This is, you know, again, this is still relatively early in this. They push themselves in. They all try and get involved in this. It's all looking good for Liquid. Then Coldamenta just gets out the classic, best gun in the game, and Scream, well, yes, he did eventually get the frag, but by that point, way too late in the day. It was a little bit more brawly. Maybe that's what Liquid are looking for, but it still goes in Guild's favor. Still a couple of ults to be played with as well, and Liquid are getting their own back in eventually, but Yampy invested his. Soulcast as well put the divide in place. Liquid need to come up with a couple more answers, and quite quickly, I feel.
Yeah, I think firstly that like the fact that Coldamenta's Molotovs have now been super impactful in a couple of rounds,
Yeah.
like just basically holding that piece of utility to make sure they can't get on the defuse. I also think Liquid were really unlucky though. The one player they lost early in that retake attempt, Link, Rolling
True.
Thunder. You combine that with a Cosmic Divide, I don't see Guild getting anything from that round because you would have been able to pressure them, you would have been able to take that control, or even just get the defuse to half. Instead, him going down was a big issue, and I think he actually was playing alone, trying to wrap around the back.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Big pickup for them in this. I mean, look at the buy coming back out. Scream rifled up, but everyone else on the Sheriff's light armor behind it. They need a round on the board. They need to do some sort of damage in this because right now, the pace, the rounds, everything is being dictated to them. Spike going to go down. Coldamenta at the helm of this, and Russ just trying to keep a couple of angles safe. But now with the wall being broken, and Link this time going to get the punish that he wanted before. Now Leo the next on the chopping block, but not an easy shot, but he still hits at least the tag on it. So Link trying to make something out of this.
Enemy down.
That's unfortunate. That's the one rifle gone.
Yeah.
And just as they try and utilize that Rolling Thunder, Sokas again, just hitting everything with the pistol. Flank coming through, but Trex wins the battle. An important one at that.
And the positioning's still difficult to make this cross with Rust getting that little bit more freedom, tucking himself in. He has to be found by Navera and fast, otherwise it's all but over. Navera does get him down, but now they need to make the cross, and Trex still alive. Leo's still there. And it's all about timing. They just don't have it. Soulcast hit some belters this round. A couple of Liquid players did so well, but it's all for nothing again. Guild will give it up just for a second, keeping control at the very end. And again, look at that scoreline. It's starting to look deadly.
It's unfortunate because a lot of these rounds have been much closer. Like, I'm not getting the same flashbacks to Split where like the rounds were dominated from start to finish. They're able to do an awful lot, even with just pistols in play. Again, Soulcast, when he's in the right place, just lands the most ridiculous shots. But unfortunately, they're not converting any of these rounds, so they're not getting the actual punish onto Guild's economy, and they still have things in their back pocket like a tour de force. The other issue as well is I feel like Liquid have been pressuring that north side of the map almost every single time. And every single time we've seen basically an A main take or a tree push. Now, the one time they're going to pressure the other side of the map, Cordamenta is in their head.
Cordamenta reading this really well. Oh, sure, sorry. As Mitch would say to make you feel more at home. Cordamenta. Is that better for you, Tom?
Cordamenta.
Why does he do that, man? I kind of miss him, you know?
Because you know he did... Oh, do you not know he's half Spanish?
Right. Right. Fair enough.
Wait until he says shalabi. That's
one of my
best one.
favorites. No, you're not. You're not.
We
wrong
need that
there.
back.
We do. If we could just get clips of that, I'd be super happy. But Yampy, in the meantime, has actually just called off state. That was a little off camera, but as you saw the push out through A main. But while this has happened, Dish was taken. Guild approaching from that northern side, as you highlighted. The first time they've really approached from it and gone for it. But you can see Link bided his time, waited patiently, called off tracks. The big punish has to be forced to swing. Does get found by Yampy. Yampy doing Yampy things, and oh my god, Russ actually can't scream on that. And the trade comes out, Russ is still standing, and I don't know how. He has 3 HP in a dream, he's gonna get tracked.
Oh my god!
How's he doing this? No right to do this, and Soulcast is already being wrapped on. I do not know how Russ was alive and how he got those frags, but my god, it's lining up for Guild.
Okay, I know the Rosa ult meme was like a thing for Scream, like making the comparison. Where the hell did that ult go?
I don't know.
Like, it just disappeared into the stratosphere. Like, it looked like the freest kill of all time, and somehow he sponged it and then comes out with a multi-frag of kills. That's so unfortunate, because again, up until that point, Liquid, they get both openers. It's a 3v5. And somehow that round goes back in the other direction. They have got to be fuming.
It's an absolute madness. I'm tilted for them. That's just one of those. God damn. 8-2 though, Guild really carving a lead for themselves now. And they've actually looked super clean in how they've been approaching this. Liquid, they've tried to be proactive on extremities. They've been trying to take control. They've been switching a couple of bits up. But I mean, it's just not worked out. And you're right, Cordamenta is being a big proponent in what's working for them. And space being taken again. Look at Soulcast. But again, with all of this, you can see that slow build from Guild eyeing up that A side. They do need to clean it out carefully and cautiously. But again, the site's all theirs for the taking at this point.
You want to play? Let's
I
play.
think the unfortunate truth is the last round was the first time they've actually got things spot on. But they have gone for an earlier rotation here. They've gambled. They've taken some map control later into the round than they normally had, and so they're going to have them completely locked in. Nowhere else they can go, and they're just going to play around this trap. They don't even really have to break it, at least for the moment.
Okay. I do want to see the timing on this, because Trex is a little further ahead, and Yampy's trying to Cordamenta. This is good. This is finally the timing working out for Liquid. Right place, right time, and Guild just can't make it work for themselves by any means. They've got problems on so many fronts already. Scream becoming a nuisance over by the door, and you can see Yampy on the wrap. Players just about everywhere. Frost is being watched. Blink only gets one per 13 seconds. Unless they make some terrible errors, this should be okay. There's a plant coming in, and Yampy just missed an absolute sitter. What is going on here? Soulcast has been kept at bay. This is Scream and Soulcast, two of the top performing players for Liquid up until this point. Safe. Ult out though, gonna keep Soulcast humbled for only a moment. Swing comes in, but the double peak, Safe's got it. And now Scream surely noted before, and Safe's punished them. They can't catch a break here, Tom.
2v4.
Last round before the switch.
I think that was a 2v4.
It might have been.
I think now, like, up until this point, I think we've given a lot of excuses, because I think rounds have been closed.
Sure.
I can't give anything for that one. Like, this is a moment where both players are stuck within the site. You've got Leo swinging out top and not dying. Like, the kid's nuts. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but there
That wasn't
needs
that
to be
moment
trades
either.
there.
No. Like, when Leo hits, like, nutty shots or Trex does, you know it, right? It's just like, okay, fair enough. That wasn't one of those times. Oh, man, 2-9, Liquid. Head in the hand sort of moments coming in here. This is not looking pretty. This is when you're starting to get worried. Looking a little too much like map 1 than map 2.
Well, this is less the prancing horse and more the choking horse that we've seen before in many other games, so...
Being a Liquid fan has always been difficult for anyone. If you've been a fan in, you know, CS, any game, you know what it's like to feel that heartbreak. You know it. It is what it is. We move on. and we look at the buy, we look at what Liquid have left in the kitty, and any great deal. You got Guardians galore and a Bulldog in there for good measure. They've been struggling in the buy rounds. Feels like they just can't be in the right place at the right time. They finally are. Trek's going to take the space and send it. His does work, sadly, for Scream. That wasn't the same case on the other side, but the paint shell does at least find Trex. Can at least slow the roll. And Scream just trying to play into this now, just fully unleashing, taking the fight on the wrap. And now on the other side, oh, Navera missing it, but Link's got it. I got a little worried, but it's okay. It's a 2v3, and this time, surely you've got it locked down.
Oh, it was a 2v4 just moments ago. It's the same two players in the same scenario. I'm starting to get a little bit scared. He managed to get towards that spike. Navira's still not connecting the shots, and because of that, Leo's been able to wrap around. Not the prettiest of kills, but still, they managed to turn it, and now it comes down to just one remaining. This happened again.
Unbelievable. 10-2, and Liquid, that's a tilter. That's one that gets you absolutely in the bin mentally.
Same.
Happens once, fair enough. Twice?
In back-to-back rounds. That's two 2v4s in a row that they've just lost. Like, we could be sitting here comfortably on an 8-4 half saying, okay, maybe Liquid have a chance to bring this back, but... And it's the same players. The Safe and Leo, just so good in those scenarios. I don't want to take anything away. They had to work wonders to win that clutch, but Navira just... I've never seen Navira miss that many shots before, ever.
No, good. Like, Navira's been one of the most... I'd say one of the hottest prospects when he came into Valorant, for me. Because he picked up the game so quickly. He is sharp as all hell. He can play a multitude of agents, and he's looked good on every single one. This just feels like one of those occurrences where Liquid look cold, which happens, don't get me wrong. But Guild looks so in control in this game. Coldamenta's calling, his reads have been super sharp. But even then you add into that those 2v4 instances, right? It's so out of character to see it happen so many times. But for now, you have to sit back.
The other way around.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
I mean, how many times have you seen that? Like, Scream bails him out something mad, or, you know, Soulcast hits something nutty, Link clutching up. There's so many occurrences where you see that happening, and it's just not happening here.
But that's the difference. In the game versus BBL, I can think of 2 3v5s that Soulcast won for them. And I'm not going to pin it on him that he should be doing more,
of course
but
not.
It's more of just like, when those go your way, fantastic. When they don't, well, you end up here.
It's tough to be here, and consider this. Guild chose this really to walk into. It could have been Haven earlier. It could have been their stronghold, right? And you're thinking, if you're Liquid, nice, we've got a really good veto here. You're coming in feeling pretty happy about it. And Safe, again, not pretty, but it gets the job done in that instance. Navera gone down. Spike is planted, though. At least a small win for Liquid, and Link blinded completely. Comes back out of it just fine. And actually, they shut it down finally. Something goes in their favor. And a 2v4, surely not going to happen again, and it doesn't.
It's the same
there
players.
We go. It's all right. It's all right, Tom. We've been hurt in the past.
It was literally Safe and Leo for the 3rd round in a row. If that had happened, I would have also needed to be subbed out for the rest of the day. You would have had your 3rd commentator for the day. And I can't.
Who are they wheeling
I
out
wouldn't have
for
been
me
able
now,
to deal
Tom?
with that.
Who'd be next? Bloody hell. But I'm glad to see Liquid get something, right? Like, let's give them a moment to build back in. Give me a game on our hands, because honestly, one-sided games are kind of boring. I want to see Liquid find answers. I want to see, you know, that potential come in, because right now, yes, it's impressive to watch Guild find this form. Absolutely. Super enjoyable. But man, if they could keep doing it against a Liquid who's going to give you a little bit more.
This is reminding me far more of Mech Na'Vi than what I was expecting from this game, because ultimately I expect a lot from both these teams. They're both 2-0. Na'Vi, on the other hand, are not within that bracket. Scream, he's already taken a hell of a lot of control. We've seen the same pinch that happened on the side of Liquid, and, well, it's an afterplant. I don't expect much of this round at all.
Nope. Just, I guess, if we look at it in a more challenging perspective, keep it clean, build back into this game. I mean, you don't want an Eco Cobra to rear its head at this point, but you'd be happy to maybe build up some confidence, feel out the game a bit, because you've just been kind of backhanded for first half.
Scream's just like, what did you say? You don't or do? You want to see? Oh, okay, I'll push the smoke. I'll push the smoke. Just for you, Lauren. I'm pushing the smoke.
Look, it's only a problem if it goes wrong. Otherwise, it's ingenious, Tom. So you know what? How dare you doubt Scream?
If man shoot the head, then big brain play.
Hey, you've worked it out. For now, we're just farming. Not going to get that much. See if he was getting close to his ult. Maybe could build up a couple of points towards it. And Guild opting to pretty much give up this round. Perfectly fine. opt in towards the next, and Liquid get, well, they get 4 standing. So again, it's perfectly fine at this point. Bear in mind, Scream was on that site, clearing it pretty much instantly.
I like the fact that Scream has then gone, I died, so I must buy a rifle. It's like, I'm not sure that was exactly what was the plan, but he's ended up with a stronger purchase. The issue is they're still investing more than you would like to see. I think that's mainly because Liquid realized the position they're in. Like, you are unlikely to just drag this back off losing and going 11-4 and then trying to win all the remaining rounds. Like, it's just unlikely. So they're playing a bit of a gamble in this one.
Gamba bad is what I've learned from live stream fails. So you love a meme or two, don't you, Tom?
do it responsibly, you know.
That's the one. That's what they say. So eyes this round turn towards Scream and Yampy, the 2 rifles they're going to bring across this. Otherwise, this would be a little bit more of a light bonus, but it's got intent behind it now. Of course, on the other side, a decent enough buy, rifles galore, a couple of bits of light armor here and there, but it's not the end of the world. But patience being shown.
They've still taken some deeper control. That almost double duelist spot currently within A main is a little bit terrifying, although the lurk of Navira might disrupt that a little bit. On the other side of things, they're having to break this wall. This is something that we've seen Rust do quite regularly, is almost just place this in a position to give you information. Let you know that they either have or haven't taken that control back, and it means that Liquid are actually wasting a fair amount of time just trying to get that control.
30 seconds left.
Let me go back around, and this is going to be Trex. This is going to be Safe to try and deal with this site hit coming through, and it looks like Safe's almost... Oh, he just turned away from that. I thought he was going to get caught out, but no, he's just fine. Trex now waiting for the hit to come in, and you can see it now working its way through. Scream just dives on him. Where's the trade? There is no trade. Leo's still standing. 3 kills for Leo, and Trex is there just to steal it. The rifles had nothing to say in this round. I thought they'd find a little bit of form, something, some sort of footing. They barely made a point of damage. Safe looking a little bit tagged up, but that's about it. Guild, clean as you like, and Navera, well, couldn't even find a target at the end.
I was about to say, might as well just go down and then bring something. I guess it would be reinvestment into shields and whatever anyway, so it's not that much of a difference. That shot from Leo, from his POV, I imagine is nasty. Just because of how far he would have had to flick and then flick back to kill the second. Like, Scream did his job. The only role for him there was take some space, allow the rest of the team to sort of crawl out, and instead, Leo's just too fast. And again, like we talk about when he is on, it's incredible. A lot of the rounds he hasn't had to be.
Yeah, Leo's one of those players, right? It's like you see that potential within him. Every now and then you get a glimpse of that game that he can bring, and it's just like, oh my god, he's something different. Yampy gonna start clearing those first bits of protocol towards A main, gonna at least force away Safe for now. Flash to follow. Doesn't quite catch anyone with it, so not gonna note how close by Trex was, but as said, for now, Spike coming all the way back over here.
Interesting. I think Scream's actually opted to take that Marshall away. I don't know. I know the man is called the Headshot Machine, but he's never been known for his scopes. So intriguing the decision behind that. I suppose the strat book. Maybe that's something that has been whispered in his ear. No scope, please. But they are going to start their execution.
Yeah, and he was trying. It went quite poorly. First man in, happy to just hope for a trade, and Russ has just dipped out. He's like, guys, it was just Scream. I don't know what's happened. Oh no, the rest are here. And the Spike, not yet to go down either. Something disrupted that, at least in this moment, and Yampy's going to find Trex. Quinn comes out, and Russ, right place, right time. The perfect turns on the dime, and Soulcast gets backhanded. It's going to be 12 now for Guild. And just Liquid, where there was a glimpse, man. There was a glimpse, Tom. There was like, oh, okay, maybe there's a little life in them.
I think we're seeing a lot of different things here. Like, Russ's comfort level on this agent and the prior is clearly huge. I also am not really sure. Like, you have a flank coming in here. I guess they were trying to run towards him almost as a disruption, but that's just a spot that's not cleared at all. I also think trying to entry with a Marshall blast packing into the site is one of the most mental things I've ever seen. Like, you'd have been better off having a frenzy.
It did seem a little ambitious. You know, it's like there's method to it, but it was mostly madness. That though was a shot. Finally, Nevera needs to warm up. Couldn't quite find Coldament there. So again, trades it out essentially at this point, and Russ again just better equipped. It's gonna be Liquid with only 2 left here. Link and Soulcast. What you got for us? If anything, apart from eating the flashes, Link now blinded, and Russ is on the other side. Tom, this is looking all but over.
Spike down.
And I've got to
A.
say, Liquid looking a little flat for my taste on this map. And Guild just firmly in control on a map I just did not expect it to be on.
Yeah, especially considering these are the maps that Liquid have been happy to play throughout the tournament so far. Ones that they won last week, in fact, and now coming back onto their own map choice and the 3rd in the series and getting basically destroyed by Guild. Now left onto Soulcast. His aim has been crispy, but 40 seconds, 4 kills to find, and he's just hoping that he can maybe drag someone away here.
I mean, you got to give it a go, right? Play it out to your best capability. And he's got so many players all going to try and swing. He's going to punish 1, but it's all but 1. It doesn't really matter. As Guild closing down on what? 13-4. Tom, this has been a bit of a clinic, if I'm honest.